Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
You are the cast. You can pod anything. You can pod everything you want to be. You are a smile. You are a rainbow. You were created so perfectly. Sometimes we laugh. Sometimes we cry. Sometimes we hurt inside and don't know why. We're only human. We make mistakes. Sometimes it feels like only other people get the breaks.
Yes, correct.
Hey! We can pod everything.
Luckily, everyone knows what you're doing right now.
You're the cast.
Uh-huh.
Hi, everybody. My name is Griffin Newman.
I'm David Sims.
This is Blank Check with Griffin and David. We're hashtag the two friends. It's a competitive advantage. We get along very well.
We do. I mean, most of the time.
Yeah. I thought David was going to physically attack me for doing that.
I thought you were just going to do something worse, and then that was funny. And like, I just think that song is funny. We were already talking about that song.
The song is ridiculous.
And I did hand gestures, and it was kind of cute, right?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well.
It was like a little cute.
It's about as cute as it was in the movie.
Thank
Exactly.
you. So the cutest thing ever?
Mm.
You are the cast. You can pod everything. I also messed up the first lyric. It's everything. I said anything. Anyway, this is a podcast about filmographies.
Yes.
Directors who have massive success earlier in their career. Sometimes humongous, unprecedented, Oscar-winning
True.
success.
Yes.
Sometimes
With their first movie.
you make a cancer drama that plays like Avengers.
Yep. That is the biggest box office hit of the year.
Yep. Was it number one of that year?
I think so.
I feel like it was number two. I feel like it was number two behind something really obvious.
You're right. Number 2.
Behind?
Return of the Jedi.
Yep. There we go.
Obviously. Right. But apart from that.
Yeah. Right. Huge.
Mhm.
Look, that's there you go.
It's a big one.
It was only second to Star Wars.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
To the last Star Wars movie.
Right. That's like
Yes.
if Lady Bird was the number 2 movie behind Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Sometimes those checks clear and sometimes they bounce. I don't remember if I said the middle thing. Mass success earlier in the career issues, series of blank checks. Sometimes they clear, sometimes they bounce, baby. This is a mini-series on the films of James L. Brooks.
Yes. And it's called
As Pod as a
Podcast
Cast.
News. It's called Podcast
Fuck yeah.
News.
Wait, what is the one you said?
As Pod as a Cast.
Podcast
Cast
News.
News is better.
Yes. I love how every single guest has agreed with me. Perfect record.
Do you know what I'll say in response to that? You are the cast. You can pod everything.
That's what we should have called it.
Yeah.
The podcast.
You are the cast. You
Mhm.
can pod
We
everything.
should have made sure you could only sing the title.
Everyone would know exactly what you were
And
talking
it was
about.
2
This is his
sentences.
most famous movie.
Right. Of course, we are talking about James L. Brooks.
Yep.
Good old Canyon Jim.
Yep.
His third talkie.
Mm-hmm.
And it is entitled, I'll Do Anything.
I'll Do Anything.
Which-
He made Terms of Endearment,
Cor-
1983.
Boom.
He made Broadcast News, 1987.
One of my 10 favorite movies of all time.
Right. Then 7 years go by.
Mhm.
And then he's working on a musical.
Oh my God.
I'll Do Anything, starring People's Sexiest Man Alive, Nick Nolte.
Because he
Yeah.
was, and it was right around the time of this, right?
No, I think
Imagine
he's
that
sexiest.
face.
I
Yeah,
think
I know.
he's Sexiest Man Alive the year he was in The Prince of Tides. I'm going to double check this
That
right
makes sense.
now. 1992.
You know what's a crazy
So it's
thing?
like the Oscar season.
Yeah, and this is 94.
Yes.
You know what's a crazy thing about Nick Nolte? He actually aged really well until he didn't. Like, he's like 51 in this movie.
He's 50. He's older. He's
I
53,
mean, I look
think.
at him and all I can see is the mugshot.
100%.
Well, and also, you forget that he's always had the voice. Obviously, it's gotten more gravelly.
Right.
But even in this one, he's like, oh, God, what are you doing? Like,
And he looks like an Easter Island head.
he looks intense. He sounds like, an innkeep in like a 1890s Western. Yeah, right.
He just, he feels so out of place. He feels so out of place in this movie to me. I don't
It's
know.
very strange
It's
casting.
really weird.
But don't you think, I mean, maybe I'm biased because I know how much time caught up with him very quickly. Like, considering that there is 8 years between this and the mugshot.
Right. That's crazy.
It
That
looks
actually
like
feels
25 years.
Yeah, that feels like a short amount of time.
Right.
It's only 8 years?
This
when was
is
the mug
1994, and the mug shot is 2002.
I guess I also come from a weird place in that, like, my first conception of Nick Nolte was really the mugshot. Like, I didn't really know of, like, he wasn't on my radar really before that.
You also come from a weird place because Nick Nolte was your father who you didn't grow up with. He hadn't seen you in 2 years, and then suddenly you had to go live with him.
I mean, I got the curly hair.
Right.
How did you know that his mugshot was 2002? Like, how is that lodged in your memory?
Because
it was Hulk related?
Yeah, it was taken during Hulk. That's why he has that look.
Yeah.
And then Hulk comes out 2003.
Right. The sort of stringy hair look.
Because then when Hulk came out, everyone was like, oh, so he's just like committing to that look now? And it was like, no, that's why he looked that bad. Because he plays a homeless lunatic in the Hulk.
Yeah, right.
He's so good in the Hulk.
He's really interesting in the Hulk.
Best supporting actor 2003.
How did you feel about him?
I'm your father, Hulk. My go-to Nick Nolte.
He doesn't say Hulk, does he?
My go-to Nick Nolte is Nick Nolte in Warrior.
Sure.
Where he yells, I'm your father, Brendan. And I do that with my brother all the time. My brother Jamesy. And so then I like to apply it to other movies.
Yeah.
I'm your father, Hulk. I made you green.
You could...
I like you when you're angry. I do.
You're good at it. I would never attempt a Nick Nolte now. All right, so just dial that down by 10%, and that's Nick Nolte in this movie. This is the thing.
I'll do anything for the part.
Right. I thought he'd be like 50% less crazy, but he's not.
No.
He's crazy.
He's gravel voiced.
We should mention our guest has done an incredible job.
Oh, it's talking so much.
Before
she's introduced.
Nailing it. Writer all around town. You know her best from her appearance on the Aloha episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Esther Zuckerman is here in the studio.
Hey, Esther.
Hi, how is everyone doing? I'm freelance presently.
Hey now.
Hey, all over the place.
All over the place. Has written for
VanityFair.com, Reclaire.com.
Atlantic Wire.
Well, that was how I met David.
Yeah. That's right.
We talked about our lunches
Uh-huh.
every day.
Oh, it's coming soon on CBS, How I Met David.
I hated him.
Yeah. Have
Really?
we talked about this on the pod?
I don't know if we talked about this
Esther
on the pod.
really resented me.
Esther Zuckerman's our guest today. You, of course, know her most famously from the Aloha episode, which was about
The sky.
The sky. Tell this anti-meat cute.
I was just annoyed at David because I'd been there for a really long time, and then David comes marching in.
Yep.
Well,
I marched in all right.
He really marched in.
Little drummer boy. He came in wearing a drum.
Yeah. He marched in. He left early to go to trivia.
That's true.
That really pissed me off.
Yeah. Esther did not like me.
I didn't like that.
And you had also gotten the job largely through trivia.
A little bit. Trivia was very important.
Yeah, the networking.
And then we became friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We bonded.
We bonded. I can't remember. When did we bond?
There were certain various things that we should probably talk about off mic about that bonded us. I
Oh,
would
yeah.
say. Yeah.
Hey now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we
Was it my sad day?
that was one of them.
Okay.
That was definitely one of them. Where I was like, Esther, what's up?
I had a really sad day.
There was a sad day one time, but that's not just it. There were a few things.
Yeah.
I think you just realized I wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
I'm not so bad.
You
David's,
warmed up.
David's pretty good.
I
We really bonded over lunch, though.
Lunch was huge. Debating what lunches we would get.
Yeah.
Discussing the lunches once we had them.
Are you
Sometimes they were disappointing.
Ugh.
Are you a big sandwich person as well?
I'm a
She's
medium
sandwich.
person.
I'm a huge sandwich
David's
person.
a huge sandwich
Yeah, right.
person. I just like I'm very into variety
Yes,
when it comes
right,
to lunch.
right. Which is my problem too. I struggle with just doing the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again.
So
I remember how when we met, which was I was David's +1 to Mad Max Fury Road.
yes.
And I showed up and I had hives.
Yeah, you were disgusting.
I honestly don't remember.
And that's-
You looked like a war boy.
And that's not a thing that happens to me. I
No,
have
it was
an
weird.
awful body that does
Yeah.
a bunch of, it pulls a lot of fast ones on me.
right, but that
But
was
usually
a new curveball.
It's from the regular repertoire. And that was like off the main set list. So I showed up like so amped to see what would then become my favorite movie of the year.
and it was a great screening too. I remember.
Yeah, covered in hives and was freaking out.
I don't remember the hives, but I do remember you guys talking about like what the podcast
Yes.
would morph into.
That is the
I have a
famous
very-
screening where we came up with the blank check concept.
Yeah, I remember.
You came in with that.
Right. Yes. Wow. That's a good point. So I came in with hives.
But you were like, you
And
know
a great
what?
But I
idea.
got something.
Because we were still in Star Wars, and you were like, you know what? I feel like this podcast is about like blank check movies.
Yeah. I remember that.
Because that was a phrase we would say a lot of the time.
And I hadn't been listening at that point because honestly, I didn't listen to podcasts before. I wasn't listening to any podcasts.
Well, Serial hadn't come out at that point, right?
No, it had. There was Serial. Because our podcast
I didn't listen to Serial.
Our podcast was a sequel to Serial, as we all know.
Oh, right, of course, because Serial's the first podcast.
Yeah.
Season 2.
This is all about Bo Bergdahl.
I still think we should do a blank check miniseries on Serial season 2.
Sure, I liked Serial season 2.
I do
Listen
too.
to every ep,
I
and
think it's
people were
good.
like, "Boo!"
Yeah,
Mark Bull, more like Mark Boo.
Bo Bergdahl.
Ben gave me a look.
More like Boo Berg.
As I sat down here this morning, Ben told me we have to talk about how many podcasts we're recording, and he just gave me a look.
Because of a burnout.
He's
you're
over.
saying?
Yeah, he's burned out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got a lot going on today in the studio. And
And he's really happy about it.
I am happy. I love recording
Ben's not
podcasts.
looking great. Producer Ben has lost a little.
Well, yeah,
Luster.
I stayed up till like 4 a.m. watching this movie.
This movie, I would have just
I'm so
told you not
sorry.
to.
I know.
Anytime you're on the fence, just text us and we'll be like, you can skip. I'll do anything. It's okay, Ben.
Okay.
I did the exact same thing. I didn't finish this movie until 4 a.m.
You guys are idiots.
Yeah.
We recorded yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a
The Ben
weekend
Deucer and I are
day.
idiots.
We recorded in the morning on a weekend. I went
Laura
right
and I
home
are
and I
idiots.
went to Amazon and I rented I'll Do Anything.
The Haas and I are idiots.
And I watched it.
Mr. Hositive and I are idiots.
I watched it Friday.
And we're tired.
Wow.
The Fart
I know.
Detective and I are tired.
Yeah.
The Meat Lover and I are wiped out. Dirtbike Benny and I, we're fucking at our wits' end.
Remember how there's a time crunch on this episode?
Kylo Ben, Priest Ben Kenobi, Ben Night Shyamalan, Ben Say Bennything, ... Ale Benz with a $, War Haas, Purdue Bane, Ben 19, the Fennel Maker, and Robo Haas.
Robo Haas.
Robo
Dead or alive, you are podcasting with him.
Yeah.
That's new information to me.
Yes, well, we're far in the future, Esther.
I know, it's so weird.
So if you have anything you want to go on the record with,
Do you want to see Nick Nolte's?
make some predictions.
Oh yeah, if you want to talk about what's going to be happening in late April, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Oh.
I'll be 32 when this
Okay.
movie comes out.
Oh, it'll be after your birthday?
After my birthday.
I'll be
David always has a really
29.
fun birthday party.
Aw. I appreciate hearing that.
So-
I got very
Sometimes-
drunk last year.
Sometimes
Yes,
I
you
like
did.
to speak to myself in the future, like Ben, hold it together. You're doing okay.
Yeah, I feel like I might be in LA in April.
Really?
Moving
Yeah,
or
that's
just
fine.
there for
No,
the-
no,
okay.
not moving.
Ugh.
Just there for a vacation.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, Esther, in the future, wear sunscreen. Don't
I'll-
get burned.
Check out Nick Nolte's Wikipedia profile picture, guys.
It's him.
He must have paid to have that done because most
Bare
people's
knuckle box.
most people's Wikipedia profile pictures are ugly.
I mean, there's some Creative Commons picture that's like completely insane.
But
This is
because
good.
I went down the rabbit hole of figuring out Nick Nolte's age at different moments in time. Do you know how old he is in that picture?
That's 1976. So I'm going to guess he's about 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that guy could pass for 25.
Yeah, I guess so. He's got a big face. He always has.
Look, he's
got
got
a
the-
face like a cinder
He's
block.
got the Joel Egerton thing where they both have craggle faces, which means they simultaneously, even when they were young, they look old because their faces have old features. But he looks pretty virile there.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, yeah.
Esther
Virile is a way to put it.
made a joke about Nick Nolte being your father, but this movie is autobiographical for you. You, of course, grew up in Hollywood.
Yes, I grew up.
That's true, right? You
Oh
grew
God,
up
I
in
can't
LA.
believe this is the bit.
You grew up in La.
I grew up in LA and I screamed all the time.
Did you?
You a screamer?
Were you a bratty
actually-
little child raised by Tracy
I
Ullman?
actually wasn't a screamer.
No.
I was a crier.
Were you the best?
Okay.
Could you do everything?
Um,
Could you do everything?
yeah, I
You
could.
are an only
No,
child.
I did sometimes perform.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah,
Right,
I
right,
mean,
right, right.
naturally.
Yeah.
Did you ever have aspirations of being like a stage kid, a child actor?
You know, like yes and no. I think a part of me sort of wanted to,
Mhm.
but also I think like I was moved. My parents were like, "Don't do that." Like they were
Yeah.
like subliminal messaging
Sure.
me, like, "Don't become an actress." But you
Right,
know,
so
I
they
did.
moved you to
I
the
did-
really stable job of media, like of
Right.
journalism.
Exactly.
Entertainment journalism.
But I did do some hammy shit.
Yeah.
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 Yeah?
You bathe in that river?
Yeah. I performed.
River Ham. River Ham.
Esther.
I got it. Ugh. Okay.
Best reaction to that one.
what are something I this is like the worst thing I ever did. I mean, it was sort of great when I was a kid, but like in retrospect, like I would have, if I were another kid, I would have punched me. There was like a school, like it wasn't like a talent show, it was like a concert. I was in the choir, but I did a duet with one of my teachers who was my like best friend to Me and My Shadow.
Oh,
wow.
boy.
What did they teach?
How
was
old
it like
were you?
homeroom teacher?
She was like a homeroom teacher. I was like 7.
Wow.
We got like
Adorable.
we got like little sparkly vests and like top hats and canes and did the whole thing. And this is she was like my best friend. We used to like during recess play like Name That Tune, where like we would sing show tunes back and forth to one another.
Esther, you are a parody of a kid who grew up in LA sometimes.
I know.
I don't know if I've told this on the podcast before, but I used to ask my friends' parents if I could perform at their birthday parties, the kids' birthday parties. And they often let me.
Sure.
What did you perform?
Did you charge?
Did I charge? No, I did not charge. It was pro bono.
I mean, you're getting the experience. That's work.
I had to build that resume.
Yeah.
A lot of magic.
Oh, interesting.
I was very into magic as a child.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I love the Babadook. Because it's this kid who keeps on practicing magic and driving his mom insane.
The Babadook. The Babadook.
The Babadook.
Yeah.
Magic, but then sometimes I like write plays and like make other kids put them on with me. So I did puppet shows.
I once tried to.
Hey, we were great kids.
I once tried to make make one of my friends perform. Like we were having a play date, and I once tried to like make her perform a production of Peter Pan the musical, and I was like in my house, and I was like
from memory.
Yeah, I was like, we have to do this, and she obviously like had not been like listening to the Kathy Rigby soundtrack for like ages, and I made her do that.
Wow. Ben, what did you do when you were a kid? You like put firecrackers in mailboxes and stuff?
I was like a nightmare. Just a miscreant running around New Jersey, shoplifting and what have you.
So you were more of a Nick Nolte type.
Yeah.
I would get like a map, and then I would get a piece of paper, and I would draw a subway system for the map I got. That's the shit I did.
Okay.
See, at least we were entertaining.
But I was all internal. It was all happening in my head.
I have a great story, and keep it brief.
Yeah.
We were stealing lawn ornaments, okay? Right? Because that's the thing kids do.
Yeah.
And so we stole from this particular like neighbor of my friends who was always stealing our balls and frisbees and stuff. He wouldn't give it back. He was like that guy.
Yeah.
We were like, we're going to get some payback. So we stole this like, I don't know, heavy kind of expensive, I guess we thought expensive looking lawn gnome.
Okay.
Then we took pictures with a disposable camera at different locations and mailed it to him. Basically being like, we've got your lawn gnome. Do you want it back? Like almost like a ransom.
You
kind
are
of thing.
the kid from American Vandal. Like that's just the prank from American Vandal. That's amazing.
Wait a second.
What?
I heard that Sherlock Gnomes was looking for a thief from New Jersey.
Well, it was me.
You're number one suspect.
I think Sherlock Gnomes will have come out by now. So
Will be
that's a
the
very
number one
relevant
film
joke.
of the year. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so that's our childhoods. None of us were raised by Tracy Ullman or Nick Nolte.
Neither.
Yep.
But yet here we are talking about this film.
Just trying to pivot us vaguely towards this movie.
I did a bad job alley-ooping you.
Mm-hmm.
Or taking your alley-oop and taking it to the hoop and dunking it into the basket. And it's up and it's out of here.
Okay.
This is his blank checkiest movie.
Well, until how do you know? Just in terms of
the
money
biggest
spent.
check.
Right,
but I think this in terms of what they let him do.
In terms of ambition, yes.
And it also is, like, he avoided the sophomore slump. He made a follow-up.
He made Broadcast News, right?
That I think has aged into a better film in terms of endearment.
Right, but even forgetting that, it was still a hit. It
totally
still got
worked.
Oscar nominations.
Totally worked.
It was a good follow-up. It's the best.
Right, and in between the two, he
helps create The Simpsons.
Right, he has the Tracy Ullman Show on Fox, which has The Simpsons as one of 2 animated segments. Imagine how it feels to be the other animated segment that was on the Tracy Ullman Show.
Wait, what was the other animated segment?
I looked it up. It's called like Dr. and Igor or something.
Oh boy.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, it's like literally an unpronounceable title. It's like N exclamation mark
right.
GQ. And And that got really big.
Yeah, in 87,
That
Tracy
one.
Ullman's show launches. In 89, The Simpsons launches.
Yeah, and you might have heard of it. It's a very big show that they will not kill.
Yeah,
And it
30
makes endless
years
amounts
old
of
at
money.
this point. Yes,
You know,
almost.
The Disney buyout of Fox might actually kill The Simpsons. Have you read this whole
I have.
theory?
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is that Fox, the network, makes money by paying Fox television studios for the licensing rights for The Simpsons. So even though the show is so prohibitively expensive now because the voice actors,
I get so much money.
the syndication value, because they just keep on adding the number of episodes, is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But if Fox, the network, is owned by a different company than Fox TV, which it's going to be, then they might just make it a mercy killing.
Well, Fox the network can't be owned by Disney.
Exactly.
Right. Yes, that's the
Right.
problem.
But Disney is going to own 20th Century Fox
TV.
Television,
Yes.
the production company.
Dun, dun. I mean, who cares? Fine, kill The Simpsons.
Yeah, about
like,
time.
Who will miss it?
And I'm sure Disney will find a way to make a ton of money off of it in death.
Right.
Right.
do
They'll make a
something.
Simpsons park or something. Like whatever.
Well, Universal called dibs on that baby.
I can't stand him. I can stand him.
You would love, I know you hate theme parks. You think you hate theme
It's
parks.
just not my thing.
Do you know how good the Simpsons area is? They built Springfield at Universal.
Sounds cool.
You can go to Moe's. You can eat a crusty burger.
Can you get a flame of Moe's?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. They have 3 different kinds of duff. It's great. David, you would like it. You like The Simpsons. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
Okay. All right. Can you get the door, Esther?
Okay. Opening it up.
Oh, yep.
Stomp. Is this Earwolf Studios here?
No, this is Audio Boom Studios.
NPR, This American Life.
No, you're at the Blank Check Record, whoever you are.
Where's Sarah Koenig? Oh, yeah, nope.
No,
Wrong
not
show.
today.
Sorry. I'm Sam Elliott.
Okay.
What?
I should have recognized you from your
What?
10-gallon hat.
You should have recognized me. From my voice, it sounds exactly like how I, Sam Elliott, sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And my physical appearance and my illustrious filmography.
The hero himself.
My ears were burning.
Okay.
I heard someone talk about the 2003 picture Hulk.
You're Thunderbolt Ross in that one.
Of course, General Thunderbolt Ross. Now, in that film, I had to play a military man.
You've done that a couple times in your career.
I have to go a little nattier.
Sure,
what I'm saying?
Trim. You would have to trim your facial hair.
Right.
You're famed for your big stash.
I got a big bushy mustache. But I had to be natty for General Thunderbolt Ross.
Okay. Well, have you ever thought about like subscribing to like an online service that would provide you with all the things you need to get natty?
I have, but here's the problem. On Hulk, they spent 95% of the budget on Nick Nolte's bail. So they didn't have any petty cash for me to get razors.
Well, all you need is $5. Did they have $5?
I probably could have squeezed 5 out of them, yeah.
All right. Well, so for $5, you can get razors, shave butter, shampoo, body wash, toothpaste, everything you need to look, smell, and feel your best.
Do they have any boot leather?
I don't know. Probably not.
Let me ask you a question.
It's more about the human skin and, like
Let me ask
your
you-
body.
Sure, this is embarrassing.
Oh, I know what you're
Especially
going to
since
ask
we're
me.
in mixed company.
Mm-hmm.
David,
Yes,
you are David Sims, right?
that's me.
I know I was
He knows
confused
who
about what
I am.
studio I was in, but now I
You're
should admit
locked
I'm a
in.
longtime blanket.
Thank you.
I love the Speed Racer episode. David.
Yeah.
I'm very ashamed to say this. I have a real stinky butt.
Well,
My butt smells terrible.
I knew it was
David, I have
coming.
no idea how to wipe.
Well, I can't. I mean, the kit can't teach you how to wipe, but
Were you
it
gonna
can
say something,
provide you
Esther?
with butt wipes.
No, I want to hear what Esther was going to say. Esther, I'm a big fan of your work. You still work at the AV Club, right?
Nope.
Well, common mistake. Anyone could make it.
They're called One Wipe Charlies with aloe vera and chamomile.
I wipe so poorly. I have poop on my butt cheeks.
All right, okay.
Not
I'm
even
cutting
in the
you off,
crack.
Sam. Sam, that's enough.
On top of the cheeks.
Sam, that's enough. Well, instead of having to go to the store
Well, that's the worst part because my butt smells so bad
And-
they kick me out of the store.
and struggle to like buy products to deal with your many hygiene problems,
Yeah.
you're mounting. I mean, now I'm smelling it too.
Yeah.
Getting stinky
You can
in
use
here.
Dollar Shave Club. I get an amazing high quality shave every morning from my Dollar Shave Club executive razors, the best razor I've ever used. And then there's the Dr. Carver shave butter, which is fantastic. It goes on clear so you can see where you're shaving. And since Dollar Shave Club delivers everything to you, you don't have to set foot in a store, wandering the aisles, hunting for razors, for shampoo and body wash and toothpaste. None of it. Clean up your bathroom and your morning routine. Join Dollar Shave Club today, and for just $5 with free shipping, you get the 6-blade executive razor plus trial sizes of shave butter, body cleanser, and 1 wipe Charlie's. Then keep the blades coming for a few bucks more a month.
Partner,
Mm-hmm.
I'll take you up on that offer. Thank you kindly.
All right. Well, if you go to dollarshaveclub.com/check, you can get that for $5 exclusively at dollarshaveclub.com/check.
So you're saying I just need to check that I have typed in dollarshaveclub.com and then I'm done?
Nope. You go to dollarshaveclub.com/check. I don't know why I'm struggling with that one.
Well, thank you kindly.
Yep. You can get it all. I use it. You use it. I mean, Griffin. I'm talking to Griffin, who is here.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. We've both gotten the starter kit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
know if we have as big a problem as Sam Elliott clearly has.
I'm a stubble man. I had a stash once for vinyl. Oh, I know. I really loved your work on vinyl. You watched vinyl? Of course, every episode, 4 times.
Okay, Sam, I got some good sarsaparilla out in the kitchen if I'll just escort you out, okay?
Oh, sure. Hey, wait. Why are you pushing me? Come on.
Get out of here.
Esther, open the door.
Oh, my God. That guy smelled terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
We're going to
get
need to
him
air
out.
it out. Can you turn on the ventilator,
He's
Ben?
been living in the woods.
Yeah.
I'll turn on the ventilator, no
Thanks.
problem.
Thanks.
He's been using leaves as toilet paper.
I mean, a fine actor, but what an awful
He's
butt that
using
guy
leaves
has.
as toilet.
But then it seemed like he wasn't wiping it away. He was just rubbing it deeper into the butt.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to wipe. He
All
admitted
right,
it.
Sam Elliott will sue us for that. Let's talk about I'll Do Anything.
Okay, so James L. Brooks, in the time in between, has created one of the biggest TV shows of all time.
Yes.
And now he comes back to the big screen, to the silver screen.
He says, I'm going to make a musical, an old-fashioned movie musical.
That's a parody.
That's a parody of movie making.
Right.
Like the Hollywood, but not like movie making on a set, like the development process.
Right. Very accessible.
Nobody cares
I was
about.
not expect. Like, I
Right.
mean,
You thought
I
it'd be on a set or something.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
You don't get on a set until minute 100 of this movie,
Sure.
right?
Just
the
like
third
with
act.
the
Yeah.
sitcom.
And
Right.
it's a sitcom set. Right.
Yeah.
He was given $40 million.
Uh-huh.
He hired Twyla Tharp as his choreographer. He
Twyla.
Warped again.
He hired Carole King, Prince, and Sinead O'Connor to write songs for him. They made the movie with the songs in them. Now, so was Nick Nolte dancing?
Yep.
Okay, apparently, I think Nick Nolte
Only has one number,
Only,
right?
and he talks.
So it's
He's,
like Lee Marvin
singing.
and Paint Your Wagon.
There's,
It's like,
okay, there's a
"Oh,
really funny there's a really funny LA Times article that sort of talked about this, that had this really mean description of Albert Brooks's voice.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's cast a musical. A medium that's based on, pleasing, comforting singing voices. Who should be our 3 leads of the film? Albert Brooks, Julie Kavner, and Nick Nolte. Let's run sandpaper across a concrete floor.
This story, which is sort of about the hunt for the Prince bootlegs, said, and I quote, Brooks's singing voice has been described charitably as gravitating towards a Jimmy Durante or Tom Waits end of the gravelly scale, and less charitably as an Oscar the Grouch affectation.
Because he's up in the gravel in this movie. He's going even gravelier
He's very
than
gravelly.
he
Yeah, he's
There's
very
also
gravelly.
one lingering shot of his left leg,
Yup.
with the thigh in the foreground.
And you're like, give me
His
some
nude
tuchus.
left leg.
You're so close to
Yeah.
the tuchus.
Mm.
He's wearing a
I was
button
going to
down.
say something else. I don't want to
Please
Say
say
it,
it.
say it.
No,
Please
I
say
don't
it.
wanna say
Say
it. I
it.
really
Say it.
All right,
Say it.
fine,
Say it.
fine.
It was just he's in sort of weird states of undress throughout
He
the
is.
movie.
Correct.
He is.
There's some revealing pants that I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He was he was about 46 when he made this movie.
Uh-huh.
But you're right. It's one thing to say I'm going to make a movie musical, and it's the second thing to say the stars are Nick Nolte, Albert Brooks, and Julie Kavner, with Jolie Richardson as the 4th to 5th lead, depending on where you put the kid.
Yeah.
And
Can you imagine if he had the 3 of them harmonized together?
Oh, it'd be like,
it's just two. Three people whose voices you could charitably describe as honking.
It would sound like Metal Machine music, the Lou Reed album.
Correct. This film that he made, to be clear, it exists. This isn't some Zack Snyder Justice League cut. There's a full cut of the movie with the musical
numbers. They screened it. And this movie...
They screened it for test audiences. Julie Kavner was there, of course, running the test screenings.
Yes, of course.
And they gave it like F- or whatever.
Right. And James L. Brooks said it like nearly destroyed his soul. And he went back, he cut out all the musical numbers, he wrote a bunch of new stuff, and he did extensive reshoots. And
yes, he did some reshoots, but he also said, I conceived the story as a musical because musicals have heightened sense of reality. But even before any music, I had a complete script. I wrote it like any script. The songs could be lifted out of it, which to me is like you fucked up making your musical.
Agreed.
Right. That's not how you make a musical.
No.
But I mean, I think watching it, you can sort of, there's this like Hans Zimmer score, which sort of like swells at certain moments.
Sure.
So you can
his
sort
classic collaborator, Hans Zimmer, by the way.
Yes.
But you can sort of tell like when they're supposed to be
agree
numbers some of the times. And it doesn't totally make sense. Like you're watching and you're like, is there supposed to be was there supposed to be a musical number here? Like that wouldn't be where you'd put a musical number. I think like the big test screening thing, like I think that whole sequence is supposed to be like a chorus number, but like I don't know.
There is one of the post Jesus Christ, why can't I speak English anymore? One of the post-coital Kavner Brooks scenes.
Yeah.
Feels like it's the prelude to a song.
I think there's also one of the scenes at the beginning, like one of the things at the beginning with Tracy Ullman, and like seems like there's supposed to be, you know, when she's sort of saying like right before they decide to get married, and it sort of swells. Can I read something else from this article,
Please.
which is sort of interesting. The main theme was supposed to be a song called "Wow." It was written by Prince. And there were 6 different reprises of this throughout the movie.
6?
And the chorus.
Hey, Albert Brooks is here.
And the chorus.
Yeah, you think you can do the song 6 times, but you can't, Nemo.
Okay. The lyrics of the song were, "Wow, this is crazy. Wow, this is wild. If there ever was a time for reaction, baby, the time is now. Seems like we're spending most of our lives just waiting for the Big Bang. Extraordinary stuff that makes us say extraordinary things like wow." And then this article says, one of the versions of this song accompanies a childbirth scene. So I assume it would be like Tracy Ullman giving birth, in which wow was replaced by ow.
Esther, I couldn't really process the lyrics you read. Could you do that 5 more times? Then I think I would get it.
This is crazy. Wow, this is wild.
So there are 2 contradictory things here, okay? One is, I think we're all in full agreement. If you design a musical that can totally work without the musical numbers.
You probably made a bad musical.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, not just that I feel you can sense when a scene is supposed to end in a musical number in this movie. Not just is there like those clear ramp up scenes, but also I feel like the pitch of the actors' performances change.
Oh, totally.
Because you can feel them starting to pivot into having to sing in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, there's a sort of like, there's like in addition to the swelling of music, there's like a swelling of emotion. Like
they become very declarative.
I don't have like any, I tried to write it down, but I don't have like any moments in my notes, but like, there's the sort of like, I'm about to burst into song, like tone that happens. And it's super weird to watch.
But beyond all of that, I also think this movie is missing certain emotional beats that were meant to be carried by songs.
Right. But on the other hand, like from everything that I've heard about the songs is that they were like, okay, this is the problem with doing musicals where you just like throw a bunch of songwriters together and like, you know, it sounds like they were so generic that they weren't actually, and this is how you could rip them out of the song. They were so generic that you could like, you know, that any of the lyrics were just like, who knows? Like this isn't, you know, this is nothing.
That's what's weird is I feel like by all accounts, these songs were not plotty at all. So it's not like there are any story beats that are missed by removing them.
Wow.
Wow, Homer.
Wow.
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 Mater. Wow.
Mater.
Wow.
Oh, Ben's shaking his head? You don't like that?
No, it's great.
Okay, get ready for way more of that.
Yeah. But I feel, so you're not missing like story beats, but I feel like there are emotional beats where it's like, we missed the part where these 2 characters got this close. And that was probably sold through them singing together.
Yeah, all the relationships stuff
don't totally make sense.
Yeah, like the Julie Kavner, Albert Brooks thing doesn't really make sense. I guess we'll eventually get to describing the plot of this movie, but the turn at the end with Jolie Richardson makes zero sense.
We'll get to that. It's crazy.
It's insane. But it's it's like all these things maybe. I mean, and it's hard to know whether that was in song or whether that was just in the cutting room floor. The fact that this thing was chopped up so many times and then Frankenstein back into a movie.
But I have to think it was. I mean, he said his whole reason to want to do a musical was that he loved the idea of people at breaking points where they are so overcome with one kind of emotion or another that they have no choice but to sing. That's the only way to express it.
So do you think he sings during that scene where he yells at the development guy?
Maybe that's the thing. It's it feels like
so instead of just that's Nick Nolte, but instead of Albert Brooks just yelling, it's just it's just him singing.
Right.
That's crazy. That's wild. I mean, it's just everything that I sort of read with him. I can't remember an exact quote that would put this in context, but it seems like he sort of theoretically wanted to make a musical, but didn't actually know how or really understand what making a musical would mean or do.
He wanted to make an anti-musical. And I feel it's a thing people have tried to do and no one's ever pulled off. It's
don't hire Twyla Tharp if you want to make a radical musical. Bizarre. But he says he also says
Twyla Tharp if you want to make a radical musical. She does weird stuff.
No, I mean, fair enough. You're right. I mean, I'm
going to defend Twyla.
Well, I just
saw a Twyla performance.
Which just
at the Joyce, yeah. No, she was there.
I mean he's trying to blow it out. It sounds from what he's hired. He's making big dance numbers.
He's
trying to make an old-fashioned studio musical.
Yeah, he's not trying to do something I don't know, once or
exactly.
or
What's the one with Anna Kendrick?
Last 5 years.
Yes, exactly.
Which doesn't work.
Right.
But
no.
But I say anti-musical in that other than the musical numbers, nothing about it tips its hat to being a musical.
Right. I mean, it's just. I mean,
no.
If you want to make a musical, you have to. It just doesn't seem like he knew, really understood the form in any way to actually do it.
And this is also the movie that I would argue kind of ruins James L. Brooks' filmmaking aesthetic. Because you have the first two movies have a kind of tactile viscerality to them.
Yeah.
And far more kind of metered performances, very occasionally choosing to go for a bigger comedic swing. And then this, even just the look of it becomes a lot glossier. The performances become a lot bolder. And it feels like they have to make up to get from the Brooks script to the Twyla numbers.
Right, of course. Because if you were making a musical, you would have, it wouldn't be so weird to have a heightened performance that was matching
disbelief
it.
Is
because you're
mandatory. Right.
Yeah, you have that's how it works.
Yeah. They recut the movie to pieces. They reshoot a bunch of it. It comes out and people still shrug and it makes no money.
Huge bump.
And it becomes one of those questions where it's should they have just released the original version? I mean, it's not like they saved anything by cutting
That's the
it.
question with so many of these things, right? It's what are you salvaging, really? Just release it.
Roger Ebert liked it, though.
He liked it.
It didn't actually get terrible reviews.
No.
It got mixed reviews. Right. Yeah.
And
but it cost $40 million. It made 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously no awards traction.
No.
And, there are work prints that have circulated around of the musical cut. I tried valiantly to get my hands on one before this started. He said that he wants to reconstruct it and put it out along with the documentary. But the problem is apparently the song rights are impossible.
Yes, too expensive.
Yeah.
Because they were all owned independently.
There is one of the bootleg Prince songs available.
He's released a couple of them on different compilations and B-sides and stuff. Yeah. But because they were all, different artists and they retain the rights to their own songs.
I wouldn't like to watch, I would genuinely, not like to watch. I mean, I'd be interested to see it, but I wouldn't want him to, spend too much time, reconstructing it or trying to make it work because, that's a waste of time. However, I actually think a documentary about this is sort of what was that documentary about Merrily We Roll Along?
The worst idea we ever had.
That would be, I would watch that. That would be really interesting.
I would love to watch that. Because also just as a window into, mid-90s, studio filmmaking.
Yes. Right, because it's, and I think, too, that's the other weird thing about this movie is, it is a parody of this development process But like it's a different time. It feels alien in some ways.
Very much so.
This whole thing like the whole thing that he's parroting feels like so different and so like something that doesn't really register on any scale.
Well, like Albert Brooks is playing Joel Silver, and he's playing Joel Silver at a very particular moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like a very specific encapsulation of a moment in time for how Hollywood ran. And it's not like all of that's out the window. It's not like all of it was unprecedented before then.
Yeah.
Or none of it has lingered, but there's like something very time capsule-y about what it's parodying.
Right. And it's like, it would be interesting to sort of delve into that and like what he was really trying to get at here. I mean,
Yeah.
This is the same. Well, no. When's Last Action Hero?
95? Or is it 94?
93.
Okay.
Right, because it was the Jurassic Park year.
Right.
I mean, like the
but I'm
shots
saying,
of
like-
like people going through like the test screening
Right.
and like counting
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
But like that was sort of interesting to me because it was
I
like
love that.
because
Yeah.
it's like that's like a glimpse into this weird process and this weird point in time but still the rest of it, like there's no context for it. I doubt even an audience then would, I mean, it's so behind the scenes.
No, but my point is, like, there were so many movies. There were a lot of movies right around now that were making fun of, like, Hollywood and, like, the popcornization of, like, studio Hollywood in this weird way. And they all
never
flopped.
were.
No one cared.
Yeah.
Like The Player is beloved.
Sure.
Was not a huge financial success.
Right, but that is an arch clever movie, right?
Tropic Thunder is kind of the only movie about movie making that is full on successful financially. Because it was like when that came out and they were like, I can't believe they let him make $100 million Inside Baseball movie.
There's actually
These
another
movies
one.
always fail. What's the other
America's
one?
Sweethearts
Oh yeah.
was actually a hit.
Which is also all about junkets. It's like
I
very
know, but that's like the most
myopic as
inside. It
well.
could have done better, but
Yeah.
it was a hit.
Yes, that's true.
Those are the only obvious ones to me, like Bowfinger, but that's sort
Did
of
okay.
that's sort of
Is
also
great.
a hijinks
Right.
comedy, with like a lot of.
Burn Hollywood Burn is like a noted disaster.
Well, yeah, Burn Hollywood Burn. You're gonna bring that up,
Right. I'm saying this.
but
it's
yes, you're right.
not
Lots of those kinds of movies.
very fertile territory.
I'll Do Anything. So it's time to talk about the plot of I'll Do Anything. Right, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Nick Nolte. He plays Matt Hobbs, guys.
Matt Hobbs.
And his origin story, no, I'm not going to let you stop me.
No, I was just gonna say, you want to talk about a movie referencing so specific
Right.
a moment.
The most specific moment, he was nominated in the famous 1980 Emmys that aired during an actor strike, I think.
There was a SAG strike, and every actor said that they were going to
boycott
protest
the
and
Emmys.
boycott the
Tracy
ceremony.
Ullman is really pissed about it.
Only one actor showed up in any category.
He was the only one who showed up for any of
Literally.
the nominations? Okay.
He was the only actor who
He
showed
was a
up.
fairly young actor at the time.
Yes. Powers Booth,
We
recently
know him,
departed.
Yeah, R.I.P. But we know him from, what do we know him from? Deadwood.
Sin City.
Sin
So
City.
many things.
Playing a lot of grumpy guys. Probably beating Sam Elliott out of a few roles. Right?
Or maybe picking up the crumbs when Sam Elliott's quote was too high.
Yeah. He was nominated for Best Lead Actor in a Limited Series against, and it is crazy,
Because these are all movie stars.
Jason Robards for playing FDR or something.
Two-time Academy Award winner.
Henry Fonda and Tony Curtis.
Yeah.
And Tony Curtis for playing David O. Selznick.
Yeah.
So they just CGI or whatever Nick
Yeah.
Nolte's face as the fifth nominee here.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the fifth nominee?
There wasn't one. Maybe
Okay.
that's why they picked this
Oh,
category.
weird.
They could just plausibly
But
squeeze
also-
him in.
But also, it was infamous because Powers Booth was
He
the
showed up. He
only
played
actor
Jim
who attended.
Jones,
Yeah.
the cult leader guy,
Yeah.
in some TV movie, and he won. And he was like, "This is either the best or worst decision of my life." Or, like he had like a sort of a joke about it.
And it was kind of both. Like, he
Sure.
kept working as a character actor. It sort of made him look a little disingenuous, but it also gave him a big platform. It never.
He was so
super
new.
helped the
He had
super-
only been in Cruising.
Right.
Like that was it. He'd never done anything before. Anyway,
Nolte's nominated. He watches at home. He loses. I wonder if they send something to the nominees.
yeah, he's pretty funny about it. He's with his girlfriend, played by Tracy Ullman.
Mhm.
And then they decide to get married.
Do you know something crazy about this film? Is that 1994, Simpsons has been on for about 5
years
at this point. Tracy Ullman sued Fox because she believed that she was entitled to a percentage of The Simpsons and its merchandise.
Wow.
Which was huge at this time.
Right.
The Simpsons, which is produced by Gracie Films, James L. Brooks' company.
Right.
So she did not bring Gracie Films or James L. Brooks into the lawsuit because the lawsuit was happening while she was making this movie.
Wow.
And James L. Brooks had to record a testimony on tape and then submit it and not show up in court so that there wasn't a conflict of interest.
You are correct.
And she lost the suit, but
she didn't lose it. It was dismissed. It didn't even go to court.
But she still got a percentage.
Really?
They gave her some percentage.
Okay.
For
Maybe
some
that
unclear reason.
She does continue to get an annual share of the show's profits. So I'm sure Tracy's doing okay.
Tracy's doing fine.
But what do you think of Tracy Ullman in this movie, Esther Zuckerman?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Unpleasant.
She walks a line in any performance.
Yeah.
And she's on the wrong side of the line with this one.
Tracy Ullman, a phenomenal talent, not someone who is a big fan of naturalism, let's say. And it's not
do that accent and it's like...
Right. She's giving a sketch comedy performance.
Right.
And the character also is very one-dimensional to begin with.
Right.
She's just unpleasant.
She sucks. What is she?
I mean, she's nothing. She's like shrill lady in quotes.
Right. She's like a mother-grubbing, money-grubbing redneck.
In 3 scenes, she goes from kind of annoying girlfriend to pain in the ass wife who won't stop yelling about their kid and how big a fuck up he is, which is fine. And then criminal, who has raised a demon child.
Crazy.
Yes, that reveal is crazy.
Reveal is crazy. So she's suddenly she's a white collar criminal.
So the opening scene is he watches Powers Booth accept. And
he loses the Emmy, and that's probably the high point of his career.
Right. And she sort of passive aggressively nudges him about
he's
putting a ring on it.
Yeah, he's like the only reason that I haven't asked you is because acting is going to be my everything.
Right.
And I want you to know this, and I
you
want
might
you
not
to
have stability.
Yeah, I want you to know this. And she's like, that's fine. I don't care.
That's
support
one of the things I like most about you is how much you love acting.
And then obviously they have a child. They get married. They have a child, and obviously it's she hates it because he won't get up to help the baby because he's got a read through in the morning
they
or something.
cut to 7 years later and
5.5,
and the baby is 6 months old. No.
First, they cut to the baby being little, which is
I think that's 6 months later.
That's what I'm saying. They cut to
no, that doesn't make sense.
I think it's a number of years.
Because if it's 1980. And I'll Do Anything is set in 1994. Neither was I. It does not matter.
I think they cut to 1987. It's 7 years later. They just had a child.
Okay,
the child's 6 months old. He asks her to go up and take care of the crying baby because he's got a big reading in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is so he's probably doing a reading of a script that isn't an audition with the hopes that maybe they consider him if the thing ever gets made.
Yeah, it's unclear.
Right. He's grasping at straws, and she's clearly had it to hear with him.
Yeah.
Right.
She cries in his face.
Right. And then it just cuts again.
Cuts again.
He's 5.5 years later.
Still a struggling. Right. Still a struggling actor. She's long gone.
Now.
She lives in Atlanta.
He doesn't have the Owen Wilson hair anymore.
And he goes in for a reading, or he's going to a production company for some reason.
He needs a job.
Right.
Well, I think he knows ahead of time that the kid is coming, and he needs money.
Yeah.
For a visit, and he needs money, so he cold calls he met
a
this
D
woman,
girl, as they call them.
He's met this woman in an acting class, and he cold calls her, and she's like, "Well, they're casting a project right now.
I'll do anything if you got anything."
Yeah,
right.
That's the title of the movie,
right?
And that girl is Jolie Richardson,
and this is, we should say,
as Kathy.
This is the joliest movie ever made.
Is that right?
You have Jolie Richardson and Jolie Fisher,
true,
in the same fucking movie,
and Jolie Kavner. Sorry.
Not since Doctor Strange had 2 Benedicts, has one movie, had 2 uncommon names, both in their top 8 billed actors.
So he goes in for the audition.
The audition.
This is my favorite scene in the movie.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the scene where I was sort of I'd started this movie. I wasn't sure what the fuck was going on.
Right.
And I leaned forward and I was like, oh, this is a James L. Brooks moment. When he's crying in the audition, when he's giving this really intense audition.
Yeah, he like has like 2 pages, and he's the director, Ian McKellen.
Played by Ian McKellen. As John Earl McAlpine. And he's got like jod furs and a hat, like he's playing like a parody of a British director guy.
Half of a pair of glasses, right?
I don't know.
Either my TV screen is broken or he is holding one spectacle and one arm in his hand.
I did not notice that.
Like a monocle.
Okay.
Maybe my TV is broken. Or maybe it's that thing with the glasses, the magnet glasses.
Yeah, I was
getting together.
right.
I think it's probably that.
And he does this read that's
he's first like, I need to, can I read the whole script first?
Right.
And they're like, no.
And
it's
Brooks
just
is giving him the spiel of like, no, we make popcorn movies here. Yeah. Popcorn.
Right. Because he's like, let's just do the interview and then we'll have you read. And he's like, can we skip the interview part? I don't like that. And he's like, you don't want to interview? Fine. Here's the role. The role's yours. Are you kidding? No, I'm not kidding. I make popcorn movies. Brooks has like a 15-minute monologue where he just like negates everything he says.
What do we think of?
It's just bombast.
What do we think of Albert Brooks in this movie?
It's too much.
It's weird casting.
It's too much.
I think he's kind of bad. And like, I love him.
I do too, and I love Brooks.
It's the first movie he's made since Broadcast News. No. He'd made Defending Your Life in between. Right. He also made The Scout this year, which is like a pretty cute movie in my memory.
The Frasier picture?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he makes Mother a couple years after that. This is sort of like the twilight of his movie star career, I guess.
I mean, he's really kind of put the emphasis more on his own films, and he takes a while in between films.
Yeah, and he's just chilling out.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he does voices on The Simpsons sometimes. That's it. Like, he really is just chilling out.
And they cast him as Joel Silver, and like, Ron Silver plays Joel Silver in True Romance. Isn't he essentially playing Joel Silver in that film?
Sure.
I think he is.
Yes.
And like, what's the other one I'm thinking of? You could go like, casting like a Michael Lerner type. That makes sense.
Sure.
As a
right.
Joel
Well,
Silver.
Barton Fink was
right.
Was
someone plays a Joel Silver analog in Get Shorty as well.
Okay.
Like, there are people who have done successfully at this point in time because he was such a big figure. And then you hire Albert Brooks, who is so vulnerable and so neurotic, to play this guy who's like no filter, all bluster.
Right.
And they don't change his look at all, which is kind of distracting because Albert Brooks has such a defined persona at this point.
That's true. He's usually a nebbish, and in this one, he's playing like a ball buster.
Right. And I'm like, can we just put sunglasses on him? Could he grow some stubble? Could we like put him in leather? Like, it just feels like when he's wearing like
leather,
a decent shirt like tucked into nice slacks.
Leather Daddy Brooks.
And then he just starts acting like an asshole. I'm just like, Leather Daddy Brooks.
Well, he's an asshole. We get that right away.
Yeah.
His company, his shingle is called Popcorn Pictures, in case you don't get it.
And he has Nolte read.
And Nolte
turns
around,
reaches into his soul
and like gives this it's like it's like it's a breakup scene.
Something like that.
Yes.
There's this pause where Brooks is like, "Why didn't you do the quack?
Yeah.
You got to quack."
And he's like, why would I quack?
It's in the script. You have to quack.
Breakup.
And then he's like, because it's a comedy.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not a comedy, and then all the trailers in 5,200 theaters are wrong.
They already have a teaser out, but they haven't hired the guy. They say the part works tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Nolte does a really fucking good job. Like, his acting as the character within the scene is so impressive.
Right.
It's like kind of what you want out of like movies like La La Land. Where it's like, you want the scene at the beginning. La La Land almost does it.
Honestly, I was thinking about this like on the way here that this is like that James L. Brooks sort of wanted to make La La Land.
Yeah, he did. This is La La Land. Yeah, truly.
Except he also just had a lot of dumb ideas about like there's a kid and there's too much other stuff in the soup.
And we haven't even gotten to the craziest idea he has in this film.
What's the craziest idea he has in this film?
Julie Kavner's prescription cocktail that makes her impervious to lies.
I mean, yeah, well, we're about to get to that.
Yeah.
Julie Kavner, Nan. She plays a lady called Nan.
She's got liar disease.
She has liar disease. She's incapable of bullshit.
It's insane. Yeah.
So he leaves. He's trying to get in his car.
Oh, but
it's
Brooks
this devastating scene where he has essentially like laid himself bare in front in this like already embarrassing situation to like read in front of the producers.
And Brooks says to him like, "Look, you're wrong for this. You're wrong for this. You got something. I'll bring you back.
Yeah, let's have you back for something else."
And so he says that to Jolie Richardson, and all the other D people are like, "Ooh, who's that guy? Why was he thinking?"
The D girls are Jolie Richardson, Jolie Fisher, Anne Heche,
and
Vicky Lewis of News Radio.
quite a murderer's row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one guy
That
who
guy's
kind of
so
looks like
familiar.
Josh Brolin.
No. What's his
But
name?
who is
Yes.
he? I was trying to
He
figure
also
it
looks
out.
a little like Lauren
He's been
Dean.
I meant to look this up before we got here.
I scoured IMDb trying to figure out who he was.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get a cup of coffee while you're.
Oh my
Wow,
God.
he
looking
needs
for
his
the
cup
guy.
of coffee.
Yeah.
Is it Jeb Brown? Could it be Jeb Brown? I think it
No,
is.
I
It's
think-
Jeb Brown. Yep. This guy.
All right. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the fashion since we're just like taking a
Yeah, we're
break
just
here
waiting for
Griffin to come back and discussing the plot. This is the worst
You're unloading.
representation of 90s fashion. Just
Wow.
big, like
Pillowy
boxy,
slacks.
Yeah, pillowy slacks.
Yes.
Shoulder pads. Just bad fabrics, bad ensembles. Bad haircuts. This is the
really
worst.
not great hair.
This is
Oh,
the
hair
Like Julie
is
Kavner's
worse.
haircut is rough.
Yeah.
I remember thinking in that Reed scene when Nick Nolte's like standing there, like that it was crazy. His pants were crazy
It was insane.
because they're like very big.
Yeah.
When he moves, you can sort of like there's a whole like atmospheric shift happening in the
His
pants.
crotch, like it's like there's more crotch than there are like pants. They're the equivalent of his legs.
I would like to counter this with saying one thing about the fashion.
Sure.
The kids' fashion is really cute.
Yeah, the kid's
Yes.
pretty cute.
They have some like fun sort of like blossomy like Punky Brewster-ish layering. I like it. You know, a lot of layered dresses. It's cute. I think that works.
So then we'll say the adults fashion.
The adults' fashion is very bad in this movie.
Great.
We're talking about the fashion in the movie, Griff.
I have some bad news.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott has wiped his butt alongside the entirety of the audio
Are
bill
you
offices.
serious?
Yeah. I caught a glimpse when he opened the door of just
Yeah.
sort of a line.
It looks like a racing stripe.
Yeah.
You're talking about the fashion of the movie. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's bad.
So
Except for the
bad.
kid. I think
The
the
kid's got a great
kid's got a good look.
She's got a great sense of style.
So have we gotten up
It's
to
the
the kid
only
yet?
good thing
No.
about the kid.
This
Sorry.
movie is also shot
Sorry.
by Michael Bauhaus, who's like a great DP, and it's
Yeah.
all like orange glow. You know, like even
Yeah.
in his crappy apartments, you
Right.
know, it's like this very old fashioned look.
And he shot broadcast news. He
Uh-huh.
also shot, a lot of the Fassbender films and a lot of the Scorsese
A lot of
movies.
Scorsese movies.
So
yeah.
I will say the scene in the test screening in the Valley is like the color palette that like I associate with the Valley in the
There you
90s,
go.
which is where I grew up.
Sure,
Like,
sure. There's right. It's got that kind of like Grand Canyon scenes from a mall,
Mixed nuts.
a
Yeah.
little too shiny.
that's like it's like the image I have of like this Sherman Oaks Galleria before it became like nice.
sure. I'm talking about America's #1 favorite streaming service.
Okay.
Netflix, take a hike. Hulu, Pokemon Go hit the streets. Amazon Prime Video,
Great company.
great company, never done
Nothing
anything wrong. But if we're looking to stream video, there's one type of entertainment that I like watching on demand, and it's that entertainment starring Beachbodies.
Beachbody On Demand?
Yeah.
The online fitness streaming service that gives you unlimited access to a wide variety of high effective world class workouts?
I mean, some people use it for that. I just like watching it. It's my favorite
it's just
type
good
of
content?
programming. It's good content. Do you have another angle that you want to pitch?
Well, you're saying that your favorite TV show is Insanity?
Yeah.
Or 21 Day Fix?
Yeah.
3-week yoga retweet?
Yeah, those are some of my favorite shows.
Retweet?
Yeah, I mean, you should retweet this ad.
Well, so you're telling me that you've been using Beachbody On Demand, who are friends of the show,
Uh-huh.
just to watch some entertaining TV.
Yeah, I'm saying that's a valid reason to sign up for this service. If you go, I like unscripted television, but I don't want this over dramatic, these sort of like forced plot lines. I just want to see people getting cut.
Okay, all right. So I've been getting into yoga, and they have a few different yoga workouts that you could just do at home, and it's been really great. I actually have been getting into a routine of doing it a few times a week, and it's really been helping me get in better shape, feel better.
Right, but that's pretty weird. I mean, most people just watch it for the TV,
Right,
right?
you go like, oh my God, is he going to pull off the pose he did?
Not you too, David.
No, I've been using it to keep in shape too. He's a weirdo over there. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, Beachbody On Demand is convenient. It's accessible on your computer. It's accessible on your web-enabled TV, your tablet, your smartphone.
Amazon Kindle Fire.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to schedule a class. You can do it all in your room. You can do it in your hotel room if you're traveling.
Which is great if you don't like talking to people.
I love talking to people personally. I like to talk to people while I do my Beachbody On Demand workouts.
It's affordable.
But then you're going to miss important plot details if you're...
Fair.
And you can access up to 600 different kinds of workouts. It has nutritional information. And here's the crazy thing.
Yep.
All for free.
You need to give this a try.
What the fuck just happened?
That was crazy. That's the craziest thing that's ever happened on the show.
Ever.
Right now, Blank Check listeners can get a free trial membership if they text check to 303030. You get full access to the entire platform for free. All the workouts, all the nutritional information. You gonna sneeze again? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just text check to 303030.
Yeah.
And you can use Beachbody.
And I'm just going to say, if you love Stranger Things, you will go bananas for P90X. It's very similar. When I was gone, did you cover the chauffeur offer?
Well, so
No,
that's
okay,
what happens
yeah.
next. Yes.
Okay.
Albert Brooks wants him to drive him.
Albert Brooks' driver is late, and so he wants him
Brooks
to drive
is like,
him.
drive me. Then the car shows up and Brooks is like, drive me in the nice car, not in your junker.
And I'm sorry, who's the driver who...
Jake Busey.
Jake Busey, our
Big
good
Tooth
friend,
Jake.
Ace Levy.
And it's weird because they insult Gary Busey in this movie.
Too much teeth.
He is right. He's one of the many actors they drag in the scene.
I love that scene, actually. I think the list
I
of
think
when
that
they're
scene is
going
The
down.
list is good, except
Yeah.
for when Nolte like explodes, and that's
Nolte takes it, I
Really
would
bad.
say, a step too far. But that's Nolte's performance in this movie.
Yeah.
He's like such a throbbing nerve in this movie that's otherwise like fairly gentle.
He's got too much... He kind of cares too much about the work.
But it's not... That's what a lot of Brooks movies are like.
Right.
And there's just something here where the tone is being mismanaged that you'll see again in Spanglish.
Yeah.
And, well, not in so much in How Do You Know, because everyone's just sort of asleep in that one. But, like, you know, in like a Téa Leoni performance where, like, they have an angle and then he's just like, amp it up or
I
something.
have not seen Spanglish all the way through, but you were like, you sort of had mentioned this to me, and
We were talking about this.
I started watching it
Sure.
last night, and I couldn't finish because I had to work. But like, like the Téa Leoni at the beginning of that movie, where she's
not
just
mad.
going crazy.
I'm not mad.
I'm not mad.
I'm not mad.
There's
That's what she said.
a lack of specificity to Nick Nolte's career in this movie, or rather his craft, I would say. That doesn't come in until the very end when he's working with the daughter.
Right. I mean, I think that's the sort of, he had this one success, and you just don't know why he didn't. You don't understand why he didn't make it. Like, what happened? Like,
And
there's
Jolie
nothing.
Richardson says that at one
Yeah.
point when they're walking, they go, "Who is that guy?" They said he got nominated for the miniseries, but for some reason, guy hasn't been able to
And
get
he's in
arrested since.
Platoon.
Right, he's in
He
Platoon.
was in Platoon. He says he walks by a rape scene. That's the joke. It's a joke about Oliver Stone's intense content. I guess this was the year Natural Born Killers came out.
And the joke...
But he was like an extra. He was a glorified
It
extra.
sounds like he was basically
But
an
he
extra.
originally had a bigger part. They
He
sort of make
originally
him
had a
sound
line, but
like...
he didn't. But
Right.
like he originally had like a line.
Right.
He's like
And then,
George
like,
Clooney and
in one of the most annoying
Thin Red
things.
Line, yeah.
I mean, the Jolie Richardson character is like so annoying.
Yeah.
But in one of the most annoying things, she's like, "Were you going for like a mixture of like?" I don't know. She like interprets his performance in like 2 seconds, like that she remembered that he was on screen, which like, come on.
Yeah.
And she like interprets. She's like that. He's like, that's exactly what I was going for. And you're like, ugh.
Do you know what's a weird thing now that I've been experiencing? I now like recognize background actors in movies and TV shows because I've like worked with them, and not like people I've like talked to or have relationships with.
Like,
but it's like you start to see the same people around
because they do multiple background gigs.
right? And it's just like, oh fuck, like that woman going wow in the crowd.
Yeah, is
I have
something
seen
new.
that in person. Right? She go, Mater.
Wow, this is crazy.
Yeah. But it's very rare that like one sticks in your memory.
Right. I mean, but that's because you've seen them in person.
Right. And this movie claims, at least for Jolie Richardson, who has such an eye for talent,
right,
that she saw the intent of his walk and recognized that's a real actor.
Her whole thing is that she's
frustrated at popcorn films. She wants to make a real movie.
She wants to make a real movie, but she like, she hides her opinions. She's like she's not gonna tell the truth.
She goes with the herd.
And that's the name of the shingle that she wants to work for instead, is real movies. She'd like to leave her job at popcorn films and work at real movies
Oscar
instead.
movies.
Subtle.
Okay, so the kid is next, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Kid's pretty early.
he drives
Is
Albert
the
Brooks
test
to the
screening
test
in
screening.
between? I
The
can't
test
remember.
screening is in between. The kid doesn't show up, I
Right.
think, for too long.
Because I was going
I
to
think
say,
so,
right,
too.
there's the test screening scene where he meets Kavner.
Which I think was a big musical number.
It makes sense.
I think so. The way they shoot the
Yeah.
crowd shots feels like they're supposed to go into.
I think
So-
they're
Sure.
supposed to be singing, wow.
Yes.
Is that where they watch the Woody Harrelson action movie where he
Yes.
says, sorry
Yes.
to bust your chops?
Yes.
And then he hits somebody
It's a-
with
it's
his
a-
Hits him with a big pork
A
chop.
meat-based action film. You know, one of those. They were big in the 90s.
But like that's Brooks having a line and working a whole idea around it. And then the Julie Kavner characters, he's like, who would be like the perfect person to run a test screening? Someone who can't lie. So let me figure out a way like backwards to get into that.
So they don't set that up in this scene. And I was really into her character in this scene because
she busts his chops because she's like, I haven't seen my daughter in
Much
like
like
2 years.
Woody Harrelson. Right. Yeah. She's like,
Yeah,
you're full
sorry,
of shit. What do you
I
mean
just-
you haven't seen your daughter? You can
Yeah.
see your daughter.
he's like, well, her mom, right? It's like, if you have a child, you have to
Like-
prioritize everything. You
And
move
then-
heaven and earth to
I'm
see
gonna
that
jump
kid.
ahead, because then the next time she encounters him and they're talking about
She
the kid,
apologizes!
She apologizes. She's like, I'm sorry. She had like switched antidepressants or was on like different antidepressants, and she was like, or wasn't taking her antidepressants. I can't remember. But she's like, she blamed it on the drugs, and she was like, I'm sorry. Like I was feeling weird that day.
She's on
Yeah.
a weird balance of pills that now makes her incapable of lying, but her doctors won't let her drop it because they want to use her as a case study. So they're paying her to study why she can't lie, which never comes in the plot again except
No.
for the fact that she's very honest.
This is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. This is just him finding a back way into having a character who can't lie.
Here's another thing you could do. Just have a character who's,
Who's bluntly honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
No,
know,
no.
I
But
don't
it's
know,
like a
maybe
magic
like
power.
a Julie Kavner type.
Chill out. Take
Her
it down.
fucking go-to!
Can I be
Jesus.
completely honest? And like I took notes in this movie. Like I
Sure.
watched it carefully.
Fair.
I missed that.
What,
Like,
the
I missed-
explanation of her
I missed.
honesty?
Because I wrote down. I literally wrote down. You can see in my notepads. Antidepressants? Question mark? Because I think that threw me off so much that then I didn't like hear the full explanation about like her lying.
I rewound it 2 times. It is
Okay, thank you.
thrown
I
off.
felt really bad. I was just sitting here for a moment and I felt really bad that I was like, oh my God, did I not? But I wrote down antidepressants. I was like, what is this?
Maybe it was supposed to be explained more in depth via song, but it's kind of tossed off over the shoulder and then
I'm on a cocktail of meds.
never referenced ever again. Because as she develops this relationship with Albert Brooks, she keeps on criticizing him for saying these mean things to her. That
Right,
he
but
keeps
it's
on
like-
being too honest without consideration for feelings.
Yeah, it just
And
doesn't make
she's
sense.
not like, look, I know a little bit about not lying. I medically cannot lie.
So those are our characters. Right now we've explained them all, or the movie, has, except for the
Except
kid.
for-
Yeah.
And the test screening looks like it goes well, but then Kavner comes out and
She's
gives
like,
the numbers.
eh.
It's like, actually, if you
Yeah,
look,
it's pretty-
and there's this
pretty meh.
moment when he like sort of swings around a pole where
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe he was supposed to sing then.
right. It's a little
It's a
singing
little
in the
singing,
rain
yeah, and I
was like-
that
Right.
tip. But Brooks is kind of like immediately feeling beaten down, but then he has a moment of connection. He asks Kavner out to dinner at that scene, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. He's like,
Yeah.
do you want to get dinner tonight? Yeah.
Okay, so
And
now
then the next scene is them in bed together. Like,
Right.
we don't even see the
Right.
He's got a weird bed.
okay,
Yeah, he does. Weird
He-
apartment.
Right.
He's supposed to be rich. Like,
It
it
looks like a
doesn't seem that rich.
big
Looks like
ass
a
dog
wiggly.
bed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
It-
couch. It's like
Right.
circular.
It's like the bed that
combined.
Garfield sleeps in. It's like a box, right? It's like
Garfield.
perfectly
Yeah.
square.
I don't know how you get in and out of that bed.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
like
don't show it.
right, and it has like
You have
raised
to jump.
edges.
You have to jump. You have to like dive into the bed.
Sure.
Maybe it's fun. I don't know.
The first time they showed
Bed
it,
dive.
I thought it was one of those things where you put 2 couches together facing each other. Because it's like totally enclosed. Do
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Let's
saying?
talk about the kid, played by Whitney Wright.
Okay, so Nolte gets on a plane. He goes to Tracy Ullman's place, and character actor Robert Joy comes out.
Oh, that's right. He actually has to
Yeah.
go to, right, of course, he goes to Atlanta.
Right.
She has he has a call with her, and it's like, can't you just put the kid in the plane? And she's like, no.
And that's the call that Brooks interrupts.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
So then he gets here, and Robert Joy walks out, and he's like, oh, Jesus Christ. God, happy to be out of the house. Thank God you're here. I'm not allowed to smoke around the kid. She's like crazy about it.
Right. You think he's
the new
other
husband, huh?
right, the
Yeah.
other man, right. And the turn of this scene where Tracy Ullman is like, it's not a visit, you actually have to just take the kid, is the guy being like, oh, I'm a US Marshal and she's going to jail.
So I just like to interject
Ben's here
about
to
this
interject.
moment because this movie is just like white privilege.
Yeah.
To a T.
Uh-huh.
I was saying this off mic before we recorded, and I think this is the best encapsulation of that. That, the white mother gets to wait an extra day with the marshal at the house so that the father will show up. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I mean, that gets me so angry.
You didn't tell him?
Yeah.
No,
fuck.
he would be behind her going like, fucking tell him.
She would, the girl would be lost in like foster care system already if this was real life.
The government would have notified him.
And the kid is the most spoiled brat you've ever met in your entire life. Or ever encountered.
This is part of what confuses me so much about Brooks's decision making with this movie. Like, because again, it's like, did he decide that Tracy Ullman's character would just be evil?
Right,
and
so
thus the
she
kid is a
wasn't
pain in the
evil
ass.
before this.
Right, because she's not before.
The first
And then
scene, she
suddenly
totally
she's-
tolerates.
Does he
She
just
loves-
decide, like, well, she needs to be a pain in the ass, but she needs to be awful, otherwise there's no way for me to get the kid to Nolte, right?
Yeah.
And is that why the kid is then just a nightmare? Why did he decide to make this movie about a kid who's just a nightmare?
And she's, she's Tracy Ullman is like feeding the kid all of this like
right,
weird
insane,
garbage.
right? And they have this routine where she's like compromise, and they like
and it's like
strike a bargain where the kid gets what she wants or whatever.
And also, can one of the things that baffles me about the kid.
Say anything.
The kid is 5.5 and can't read.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Yes, can't read.
Can't read. And like, I don't know.
And it's brought up a lot in the movie, but it's not even brought up as like a bad thing.
It's brought up as like it's sort of weird this kid is 5.5 and can't read anything.
I mean, some kids can't read that age. You know, between 4 and 7 is when you're learning to read, I guess.
Okay, maybe I'm.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's sort of like.
It was, but
I was an early reader, but I don't want to judge everyone.
Yeah, so was I.
Ben just gave me a great look.
Nolte assumes that Robert Joy is the boyfriend, and he says, like, look, you want to run away with this guy? Oh, because he goes, like, I'll bring her back in 2 weeks. And she's like, actually, a little longer. And he's like, what, you're going on vacation or something? And Robert Joy's like, you had one job, tell him I'm going away forever.
She committed, like, a white-collar crime, or she was, like, an accomplice? An accomplice?
The exact line. Ready? I loved, helped, and supported in every way possible a businessman who committed the terrible crime of being financially imaginative with a pension fund.
Right. Okay. Yes. Right.
Now, you said, was this just necessary
Is this
means
Brooks
to
just
get to the
finding
plot?
a plot way to do this?
Do you know what other movie does something nearly identical?
How do you know? What movie?
Old Dog. The reason Robin Williams has to take over the kids is because Kelly Preston has not warned him that she's going to jail for an environmental protest.
Uh-huh.
Now, I never thought I would compliment Old Dogs on anything.
But you're saying that's
Old
less
Dogs
sweaty.
does a better job.
You can have the mother go to jail for reasons that don't make her a terrible person.
Sure.
Right.
But this is my question, this chicken egg question.
But
I have.
the
Does
child
he want the kid to be evil?
I think he wants the kid to be
I
evil
think
because he wants there to be a turn with the kid that like he has to take care of take care of this nightmare kid. Like I think he genuinely
otherwise it would just be like a gloppy like dramedy about like a cute
he
kid
wants to make
who
a
helps him
Clifford.
figure out his life.
But it's
right.
also because like
it is
seems
Clifford-esque.
It's problem childy.
Okay, this is what's surprising about this movie and these characterizations is like I thought at the beginning, like in the moment when he's not getting up to help the kid and he's like my acting is my career, that he was gonna make it, and then when Julie Kavner yells at him, like that he was gonna make him a bad guy, but you quickly realize after this that he is 100% convinced of his decency. Like that Matt Hobbs is like the greatest guy ever. Like his shortcomings or whatever,
Sure.
that he is a really good guy. So like if he doesn't want to believe that the guy is bad, then he has to make the kid a fucking nightmare.
That's a very good point. Because, it's like the movie feels like it's actually calling him out on his bullshit in the opening scene by being like, guess what? Even if you think you're a nice guy, if you haven't seen your kid in 2 years, you're a bad person.
Or like trying to do, like if it's doing a Hollywood parody, trying to do a parody of like the struggling actor who'll do anything. Like, and he's not parodying that. He's not criticizing this guy in any way.
And, there is like a certain subgenre of like light comedies about men who are not prepared to raise a kid who is dropped off, But like those types of movies, your Big Daddies and your what have yous, usually it's like, this man has some growing up to do. He doesn't know how to well, what do you eat? Saltines? Like that kind of like.
Yeah, but no, this guy is a good guy.
He takes to it almost immediately. None of it's on him. It's all that she fucking sucks. She's a bad kid.
She gets on the
She's
plane.
a bad kid immediately.
He's doing his hardest.
She throws tantrums about everything.
She throws tantrums. She like pretends to hit herself, so the entire plane judges him.
Yeah.
She locks herself in the thing. She screams. She screams so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's a devil child.
That
She
sequence
is a
is kind
devil
of funny in like a farcy way.
It's funny one time, but then like everything she does
Honestly,
is this.
sequence.
Okay,
Yeah.
the other thing I wrote in my notes, I can't remember when exactly I wrote this, but I was like, is this movie disturbing?
It is.
Like,
Well,
I think it is.
his
yeah.
treatment, because then
when he's then in
an
the apartment, right? And he's like, you can sleep in the bed or you can sleep over there, like near me if you want to sleep near me. And she's like, here. And you're like, okay, all right, maybe this is settling down, right? And then the next day is him like dropping her off at like the downstairs
speaking
neighbor.
of what Ben said about like the white privilege,
Right,
he
where he just
literally
knocks on
like
the
he
Hispanic
knocks on the
lady's
door and
door.
is like, "Can you take this child?"
Yeah.
I've
And-
seen you in the laundry room. I see you have a lot of kids. I guess you know how to deal
Right.
with
And
kids.
she's like, well, I'm always here.
Ben's just
Ben's
shaking his
just-
head.
it is-
It's like, yeah, it's
mind-boggling.
literally, and she's like, yeah, I guess okay, which is also mind-blogging, like,
Right.
mind-blogging. It's mind-blogging.
Honest to blog,
mind-boggling.
it's mind-boggling.
Honest to blog. And then he like goes upstairs. Here's the kid. Here's screaming again. Goes downstairs thinking like, God, I've dumped this nightmare kid onto my neighbor. And then it opens the door and it's like, no, her kid is screaming. And he's like,
But
phew.
but then there's other stuff where he has to take the kid back, and he's literally like holding her like upside down, and
sure.
just like,
and
you
she's
know.
like, I don't want to go back with you. Yeah. I mean,
I'm sorry, we just brushed
she's
over
been horribly raised.
one
Yes.
of the three craziest things that happens in this movie.
What?
Okay. He leaves. He's gone for what? A minute or two?
Sure.
When he hears the screaming and
Yeah,
runs
yeah,
back
yeah.
upstairs.
Right.
He sees that it's this woman's son,
Yes.
one of her children, crying instead. And he goes, oh, I'll take her back. And he goes, actually, could you leave her here a little longer? My son fell and he's crying, and she's the only one he lets hold her.
Right.
Right, so it's sort of like it's been 2 minutes, and it's sort of like
That
maybe
happened
this
over the course of 120 seconds, that the only way to stop him from crying is this little girl who's an inch taller than him.
and like from what we know, a terrible
What?
child.
What?
Chill out, Griffin.
It's very strange.
Yeah. It's weird.
But that also now allows him to go and live his life with total freedom and impunity, because it's like any scene where the kid's not there, it's because he's
He dropped it off. Like,
right. He's off the hook.
Yeah.
Like he's got a
Yeah.
sort of
If
pro
he
bono
wa-
babysitter at all
and I
hours.
guess that's like the other confusing thing about this movie. It's like if he wants to make a movie that's about like raising a kid
Right.
and a parody of like the development process, why not have the kid there?
And it's like the movie will go through a stretch of like 15 or 20 minutes where it's like, oh, because we have like a Nolte scene, a Jolie scene, and like a Kavner Brooks scene back to back. Now we just haven't seen the kid for 15 or 20 minutes, who's like ostensibly the impetus
For the entire plot.
right. So, I mean, he continues to struggle to teach this kid to be a fucking human being.
But it's like he doesn't even spend that much time with the
No,
kid.
There's like the first half hour of this movie, I was kind of into it. I liked the audition scene.
Me
I thought
too.
it was going somewhere. Once the kid shows up, the plot disappears from the movie. It's just like a bunch of shit
The
happening.
next thing I have in my note is like the scene with the list of actors where he's
There's
like
that scene
Yeah,
because
so
he's
he's
now
like-
just hanging around at Popcorn Pictures as like a chauffeur.
because he's like sort of the driver.
Right.
and he's
Now
like-
this is where the movie just starts to feel like a movie that had a bunch of musical numbers cut out of it that doesn't cut together.
Right.
Like where it's just like a bunch of ideas, like that scene, like the scene with Julie Kavner and Albert Brooks at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like where it's just like, here's an idea about, like, here's a Hollywood sketch for you.
I mean,
you
the
know?
next thing that really happens is like she wants to make Jolie Richardson wants to make
Mr. Deeds.
goes to town.
Right. She's 10 years early on an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, which is it's crazy now that this movie is kind of like, it doesn't make any sense because you know that Mr. Deeds was remade into like a fucking dick and balls comedy.
Yeah.
But she wants to make this like, you know, and it's after, so he goes, there's that big scene where he blows up, like the male number whatever, male D
Jeb
guy.
or whatever his name was. We
Jeb.
figured it
These
out.
are some of the best guys out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're like
Jeb is,
Tommy
like,
Lee
going
Jones.
through
Shit, you know.
Jeff Daniels
skin.
beanpole.
Which is a weird, that was the strike against Jeff
Sure.
Daniels at the time.
James Spader was vanilla,
Yeah,
which
that's-
is like crazy.
He is
He's got
the opposite
so
of
much
vanilla.
spice.
Yeah.
Too much.
I mean, I love Spader, but that's what he's known for is like just paprika everywhere.
Right.
And then Nolte goes crazy.
Yeah.
Yells
You're
at
one
all
of
of
the
them.
best guys. And the guy goes like, hey, how about you stay out of my business? He goes, that's the problem. This is my business and you're in it.
Right.
And everyone like freaks out. They're like,
Yeah.
he thinks like, oh, fuck, I've ruined myself. I'm fired. And then Vicki Lewis comes after him and is like, no, stay, please.
Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, this is fine.
And the D guy is like, are you going to beat me up? And he's like, no, I'm not going to beat you up.
And then this like inspires Jolie Richardson to like.
She sees the fire in him.
Yeah. To like.
To put him in a Mr. Deeds remake?
Right. She goes to Albert Brooks and she's like, I need this. Like, I need to make this.
Right.
There's this project that I've been developing.
Wait, guys, we didn't talk about the sex scene.
No. That happens after this.
Is that after?
That happens after this because I want to talk about the sex scene because it's one of the most upsetting sex scenes I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's the prequel to the Spanglish sex scene.
But there's another thing that happens before that's even more upsetting. But we'll get to that very shortly.
She goes to Albert. She's like, I need this. Like, I need this in my life.
She gives him the hard
I'm
sell.
gonna die basically.
And he's
if I
into
don't.
it. He's like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for.
And basically, like, she goes to Matt, and basically he's her only guy.
Yeah.
He's the only guy. He's the only guy testing.
She calls him. She's like, "Great news! I'm finally getting to make a movie I want."
Do I know what you want to say? What you want to talk? Okay, she goes to his house.
Well, first she calls and says, "Okay, who do you want me to play?" Because Deeds, of course, Longfellow Deeds. Well, send me the script. Fuck that! I'm bringing it over right now.
Yeah.
No, she couriers it over.
She goes.
She comes in person.
She comes in
Does she?
person.
Yes,
Okay,
because the craziest.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes,
second craziest part of this movie. Number one is the kid only being able to stop crying when a 6-year-old holds him.
Uh-huh.
Number two is drops off the script, is so excited about it, and then the daughter pulls Jolie Richardson down with Herculean strength to her level, kisses her square on the lips
and
for
says,
a
"I love
long
you."
period of time and says, "I love you."
Very weird.
It doesn't make any sense.
Not revisited.
No.
Although
No, the time a 5-year-old sexually assaulted a grown woman.
maybe there's some germ of an idea that Brooks has where it's like these are parallel characters because they're like both kind of like Hollywood superficial people. I don't know.
Her connection to the kid is continually weird the entire time because at some points it's like
right because the idea is Jolie sees something in the kid.
Maybe the kid actually likes her, but then the kid calls her Poopy Kathy at one point.
Right, because it's like, is this now going to become the new mother figure? There's the earlier scene where Nolte's talking to Jolie Richardson, and he goes like, "So are you just totally wonderful?" And it's like, okay, so they're going to fall in love. That's clear where this movie's going. They're two people with integrity in an industry that doesn't value it.
So it's like maybe, so it's unclear what's happening there. And then is the scene where he's like, I'll come to you after I've read the script.
Right.
And there's a sign
Which he
on the door.
does immediately.
Right. And there's a sign on the door that's like, if you loved it, enter. If you didn't,
if you didn't love it,
like knock or something.
Right. Yeah,
and he enters.
Yes.
And he's like wandering in the house. And then she runs by fully frontal
nude. Yes.
nudity. Just totally nude.
And then
she's like, "Oh."
I'm trying to figure out how to
this film was
describe
rated
this.
PG-13.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy because that's
he slips it in
full frontal nudity.
It's brief.
It's brief.
But it's her.
Yeah.
It's all her.
Something's Got to Give was also PG-13. You can sneak in a comedy.
I know.
Flash.
No, but I believe.
No, you.
What?
Well,
what are you gonna say?
I think
you're saying you can see downstairs in this one and not in Something's Got to Give.
I didn't pause it or
It's
anything.
very
but
brief
like,
in
it's very
both
brief.
circumstances.
You can see downstairs in this movie. I watched the scene 5 times. I just had to know. I had to know. How do you know, David? But also not just because of the nudity. I could not figure out what she was saying afterwards. So I had to watch it 5 times.
I mistimed it
until I got the closed captioning on. She said, "I mistimed it. I wanted you to see me full frontal," which I guess what she wanted was. I can't tell if she's making a joke to cover up for being embarrassed, but then the note on the door makes it seem like that was her plan. That she was hoping the second he walked out, she would walk out.
And then she puts on a shirt. Because she I think she's like, "Come over, let's bang."
But can I talk about this insane thing that happens? When she pops out the door to say, "I mistimed it, I wanted you to see me full frontal," she's not just popping out at an angle. It's like she is lying.
Yeah, she's very high on the door
But
somehow.
she is 100% horizontal.
I know, it's very weird.
Fucking 15 feet off the ground.
But again, it's like something out of a heightened, like old-fashioned studio movie almost.
Yeah.
Like it's cartoonish.
Yeah. So then now she's wearing a shirt and they talk about the script.
They're talking about the script, and then he's basically like, can I just do this privately? And she's basically like, yeah, let's fuck.
Right. So then he's like, well, my process, I don't want people seeing me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. He is about to start reading. She kiss attacks him.
Yeah.
And then they start fucking, but she doesn't want to turn her phone off. I'm a phone person.
Yeah.
She gets a lot of phone calls.
And she gets a lot of phone calls, and his face is so upsetting.
The first phone call is a guy saying, look, I know you don't care that much about 1 month anniversaries, but if you don't want to be with me.
Yeah, so that's like the first clue that like maybe she's a bad person.
They
Sure,
continue fucking while.
A guy breaks up with her on the phone.
Yeah.
What else is there? Someone calls with like gossip. Like Rosie O'Donnell, the makeup artist, calls with gossip.
You won't believe who's gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the other calls are because I'm just like looking at his like sweaty, disgusting face.
But then the fourth call is the kindly neighbor.
Oh, yes.
Because Nick Nolte has left the number with her of Jolie Richardson's house.
Yes.
It's his daughter on the phone going like, I think this is the wrong number.
God.
And he like falls off of
So,
her.
So they're halfway through sex or whatever, and he has to stop or something.
Right, because he promised her he'd do something. You promised me you'd be back in time so we could sing songs or something, right?
I like honestly
This is where I'm just getting sick of this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I just turned on this film.
Okay, I'm going to ask a very difficult question. Do you think the performance of the daughter in this movie is good?
I
spent the whole time trying to parse it.
It's such a horrible character.
It's such a horrible character that like the
I
kid
think
was
it's
asked
bad.
to scream.
No, I think it's bad.
I think she's good,
No.
but I also
No,
think
you
they
know what?
asked her
I just
to
decided.
be as unpleasant as possible.
I think if she was giving a better performance, the character might make more sense.
Maybe.
As it is, it's like, okay, she's just evil. Okay.
She's a weird kid. I mean, she's got funny like gestures and.
Yeah, but that would work better with a good performance.
Sure.
Like, that would make more sense.
So then I think they go back to his place and she takes out her like Mr. Mike and does what is the only remaining musical
sings him
number
a song.
in the movie,
Yeah.
which was supposed to turn into a full-blown musical number.
Right.
In the end credits, you hear the full
And
produced studio version.
With Carole King. That's the Carole King song.
Carole King wrote that song.
Right.
Yeah, it's the song you open the episode with when everyone turned the episode off.
You
Until
are
the-
the cast.
Or whatever.
You
You're
can
the
pot
cast.
everything. I kind of like that song. I think it's a banger. God.
What's the matter, buddy?
I'm sorry. I'm just stressed out.
What's going on?
Ben, cut this out. I mean, cut this out.
Yeah.
My
sure.
dad's having financial problems, but I don't want to talk about this on the show. It's not a
We've-
thing I want to talk
We've
about.
never talked about it because you've cut it out every
He's
time.
cut it
right,
out
Ben?
every time. I mean, so feel free to say whatever you want right now, because Ben, you've cut it out every time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk openly.
No one
here.
on the show, no one who like listens would know.
This
about
isn't like a callback. This
recurring
isn't.
bit
No,
of
it's not a
ours.
recurring bit. It's just a real life situation.
I'm sorry to hear about
He got in
that.
financial trouble. He decided to invest in popsicle sticks.
Yeah, that's a bit of a down industry right now.
He was sort of looking at like futures,
okay.
and he thought that was like the next big boom.
Uh-huh.
And so he has invested $15 million in popsicle sticks.
I mean, look, I'm not going to tell your dad what's what, but I am going to say if he's got some debt trouble, he could look into Lightstream.
Lightstream.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to be an expert to know that consolidating debt into a low fixed rate is going to save you money.
No, that sounds about right. No, I'm not an expert, and that does sound correct.
And average interest rates on credit card debt is 17% APR. And have you looked at your interest rate? Like, you could be spending a lot of money just keeping afloat.
Yeah, I mean, I am. Literally. I'm spending so much money on sort of water wings, inner tubes, just trying to stay afloat.
All right. Well, let me tell you about Lightstream's credit card consolidation loan.
Okay.
It's a fixed interest rate as low as 5.49% APR with autopay. It's backed by the Rate Beat program, so Lightstream will beat any qualifying interest rate presented by any other lender.
Yeah.
And you could save thousands of dollars in interest, and there's no fees. It basically just like looks at your credit card debt and tries to get it into a lower debt rate.
So they look at debt the same way that like Bob Barker looks at pets. Likes it fixed. Fixed rates.
And you want to weigh in on this?
Fixed rates.
Uh-huh.
Apply today and get an additional interest rate discount on top of Lightstream's already low rates. The only way for my listeners.
Well, I mean, that's you're taking a lot of credit there.
Our listeners.
Yeah,
Ben.
come on, Ben, please.
My apologies. The only way for our listeners
There we
to
go.
get
Much
good
better.
credit to get this special interest rate discount is to go to lightstream.com/blank. That's lightstream.com/blank. LIGHTSTREAM.com/blank.
Well, guys, I gotta say, look, I appreciate how knowledgeable you are in this subject. You're really helping a friend out in need. It's a shame that our listeners won't get all this good advice too, since we're gonna have to cut all this out.
No, I just want to, before we cut it all out, like, you know, they got loans from between like $5,000 to $100,000.
That's my exact rate I'm looking at. I'm looking at that range of
The
numbers.
whole thing's online.
Yeah.
It's really easy to do. You can choose your funding date. You can see interest rates before you apply.
Oh, great.
And it's a division of SunTrust Bank, so it's one of the nation's largest and strongest financial institutions.
Yeah, I gotta just get my dad to stop buying popsicle sticks too.
All right.
I should mention, though, very quickly, subject to credit approval. Okay.
Mhm.
Rate includes 0.50% auto pay discount.
Okay.
Available only when you select auto pay prior to loan funding.
Okay.
Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com for important information about limits on Lightstream loans, same-day funding, and rate beat program.
I mean, I don't know why you got so formal there. We're just having a casual conversation. But I, once again,
That's how
appreciate
he usually talks.
the advice. That is true. That is how Ben usually talks off mic. And of course, now Ben, edit point, and you cut all of that out, right?
What's up?
How do you feel about the sex scene? No?
I think I blocked it out. I
Fair
blocked
enough.
out most of this movie.
Yeah.
Because this just gets so, like, all the different kind of plot lines or different storylines,
just
it gets so mixed
incomprehensible.
up. Like the Albert
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Brooks
saying,
stuff.
right? The Brooks stuff is just
Well,
so
I
sprinkled
don't even
in.
know
Well,
what's
it's like,
going on.
I guess he has a relationship with Julie Kavner, and they're like together for a while. But then he's getting depressed. But like they sort of skip over this whole thing where he's getting depressed about work too.
Yeah.
Because his movies aren't testing well enough.
But yeah, his relationship with Kavner is the test screening. Cut to, they had sex. Cut to, they have a very serious conversation about the future of their relationship at a dinner. You know what I mean?
Cut
Like
to,
there's
he's really depressed about like just
they've
his
broken
career
up and he's
but
sad.
he's depressed about his career in general.
It's
He's
all out of order.
he's going through like a life crisis without any sort of introspection. And she keeps on because she's got this honest curse, like telling him exactly what's going on. And then he kind of responds glibly and then says something very honest and mean to her.
Right.
And she hates his honesty.
Right.
She's like, why don't you lie more instead of saying mean things to people? Now, let me say some mean things to you.
Right.
There's the scene at the dinner where he like goes to the place where he knows everyone goes. And they have like the fucking
They're gonna
balcony
schmooze.
seat.
Yeah.
And everyone's eagle-eyed looking to see who walks through the door. And there's kind of a funny bit where like every man abandons his date to
To
run
schmooze,
to
yeah.
schmooze. And then she like kind of breaks up with him in front of those other
Yeah, she
industry
does
bigwigs.
break up with him,
There,
which makes more sense now that I've realized
That's
the
an
I
odd
can't
scene.
lie
Yes.
scene. But it's still,
But-
but I think like I don't
that
know.
dinner scene is really weird.
But then they're like, that woman's amazing.
Okay,
God,
but I
I'd
think
love
this is
to.
after like the key moment, which is the test.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, it is. Okay.
And
You
then
got me.
Sorry.
is
Whatever.
that I can't remember if this is before or after, but another thing I just want to read verbatim because it's such an insane
Yeah.
like up the ass and around the corner Brooks exchange.
Yeah.
When Brooks calls her and says, "Want to have a little sex?" Or rather, he says, "Want to have a little sex?" And Kavner goes, "You know, I've never hung up on anyone in my life because what if the next thing they said solved everything?
Right.
But I feel I must end this conversation." What?
But that's Brooks shit.
I know. But it's also like, if you want to make a movie about a person who can't lie, if you're James L. Brooks and you go, I got a great idea for a movie, it's liar, liar, let me beat him to the punch by 3 years. You can't just make that a subplot.
It's like a subplot.
It's
Yeah.
also sort of like as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Right. I guess he hones it with as good as it gets.
Right. It's
Right, but
sort of
that's-
like it's sort of the germ of that idea.
Yeah.
And that's just, he's an asshole, which is also a way to justify someone telling the truth all the time. It doesn't have to be a fucking...
Chemical
Well, also,
condition.
yeah, also, I mean, and as
Yeah.
good as it gets, it's sort of a. I mean, like he's OCD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has a disability.
Like
of
that's
some
sort of
yes.
what they. I mean, whatever you're going to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
Problematic.
So Nolte goes in for his screen test, and they leave the daughter,
With Jolie Richardson.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting made up by Rosie O'Donnell. I will say, I think this scene is very well observed. this is very accurate to what it feels like to be the actor in the middle of.
Like, you're getting ready for this really important moment in your career, and they're just like, oh my God, did you hear about blah-de-blah? Like,
right, because if you're like a big-time A-list star, they get kind of like quiet around you. But if you're like a Griffin Newman level, just get him in and out as quickly as possible.
Right.
They're so much more concerned with their conversation.
Right.
And it's always gossip shit like that. You always get the best shit from hair and makeup people.
Right.
Yes.
And Rosie's weirdly good casting for this.
She is, but she was kind of famous at this point, right? Like, it's
hard
hard to
take a
include
smaller
her.
role.
This is like a cameo,
Right.
Sort of.
I
Because
guess
like
so,
Flintstones is the next year.
She'd been in Sleepless in Seattle already.
Yeah.
So
League of Their Own
he
is-
goes in and does the test.
Well,
And
Jolie Richardson comes in and goes, "Here's my tip. You're going to be great. What they need is sexy.
okay,
That's the thing they're looking for."
Mr. Deeds.
And I've like gotten notes like that when I'm going in for callbacks. Now it's never sexy because if they're looking for sexy, they haven't even called me in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they'll say things like, "Hey, so they're bringing you back in to meet with the director. This is the note we got. The thing to work on is the vulnerability, or the
Right.
thing to work on is here's the one element."
Right.
And to say sexy is like, that's kind of a well-perceived moment because that's one of those things that like they will say to you when you're an actor that gets so in your fucking head where you're like, how do I be sexier?
Right. And what does him in the test screening review is that Brooks
Well,
keeps
this
basically
is a-
saying
this
like,
is
would
a-
you fuck this guy?
Right. So this is a scene that plays really weirdly in 2018 as many
Yep.
as many in the rest of this movie do, but like basically there's this scene and then they go and they're like, "Would you fuck her?" And people are like, "Yeah, I'd fuck her. Yeah, I'd fuck her." And then they're
the
like, "What about
woman
her?"
who's in the test, who
Yeah.
was just supposed to be reading with him, and they're like, "She's pretty good. You'd fuck her, right? You'd fuck her."
Yeah.
And they go, "Well, what about him?" And they're like, "Not really, not really, not really." And,
And
Jolie
then-
Richardson's like, "Shouldn't it be about more than this?"
No, but also it's
Albert
like
Brooks has
she
this big
already
thing about
fucked
like
him.
Albert Brooks has this big thing about it's would you go to bed with him or wouldn't? And you're like sort of like, you should say that you fucked him. But
I think she doesn't
But
want
that's
to
a-
because it'll look unprofessional.
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's an awful scene.
no, but
Sure.
I mean, I don't mean she should have said that, but that's
No,
sort
no,
of what
but
you're
that- but that's what the
thinking,
scene's
like,
about.
Yeah.
And Vicki Lewis
Yeah.
says like maybe 5 years ago, and it's
Right.
like
She doesn't want to embarrass herself by admitting it
you
all
want
of a sudden.
people's
and
sexiest
it's
man
not-
alive 2 years
but
ago.
it's not.
right.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's true.
So then
The other. This is the
concurrently.
end of his career.
right concurrently.
But that's it. But that's the thing. I just want to say there's like 40 minutes left of the movie, but that's the end of Nick
he's not even
Nolte's plot.
trying anymore.
Yeah.
He stops
He's not-
trying to be an
because
actor.
The kid, because
the kid takes over the movie. He gets a job at the end of the movie in the Oliver Stone thing, but it's like
it's
an
the same movie. It's
afterthought.
the, like he's
Right.
Oh, right. Oliver Stone's
Yeah,
going to
is
make
now
the
gonna
movie
do
now.
Deeds.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
an
yeah,
afterthought because the kid gets cast in a sitcom.
And he's quote unquote the
The kid
crippled
is-
doctor, right? What did they say? The
Yeah.
crippled.
The crippled-
Best part in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the kid is walking around with Jolie Richardson and
Is such a
suddenly-
star.
and
Everyone
is like
is.
she does something where she's like, should I say it like this or like this? And then somebody sees her and is like,
Put her in-
get it. So then
Put her
she
in the
gets
foster
a role.
kid sitcom.
She doesn't have to. She just like tests. She gets it. She
Gets the offer.
gets the offer.
Right. And then the movie is like 30 to 40 minutes of him coaching her on how to act.
Because she's worried about whether or not she can cry.
But she's awful. Like, this is where she takes over the movie and she's awful. This is why I'm saying she's bad.
Yeah.
And it's unclear
Like,
whether
you can't stand her.
No, you cannot.
it's unclear whether he believes like it's sort of supposed to be the turn where it's like this makes her a better person ultimately. Like ultimately it's like being cast in the show makes her a better daughter.
And then
I guess so.
the penultimate.
Which that's a weird lesson to learn.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
No, that's what
yeah.
I mean. It's like it's
It
sort
helps
of
her connect with her dad.
it helps
Yeah.
her connect with her dad, which is like okay, like literally putting the child to work helps
But
her.
also, it's like he has the correct response when she's cast, which is like, kid actors are terrible.
Bad
You
idea.
don't want to
Yeah.
do this.
No good, don't do it.
And then
Very
he
bad.
just supports her in doing it anyway, even though she's not really prepared for it. She's not really good at it.
She's like,
No.
do I have to learn to read too?
She's stressed out by it. But she does that song about how she's going to make so much money and she wants all the money and she's like fucking waving it in her dad's face. And then there's this weird scene where Jolie Richardson invites him back
This is the bad scene.
to her place to have sex, but they take their own cars,
Yeah.
but they're talking over the car phones while driving around the canyons, right?
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
And
And she
decides
confesses
to tell him
her test screening mistake.
while he's in the
Yes.
car behind her that she folded on him.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he turns around.
And he's over
dramatically.
it. He's like very at the beginning goes like, look, I'm totally fine with the test thing. That's
Right.
in the past. I'm
Yeah.
happy with my life. He goes, look, I should admit to you, I kind of folded on you at the
And
end.
she doesn't do it in like a horrible way. She's like, I've talked to you about my problems with this, like,
They asked me if you were sexy, and I said you weren't. And he loses his mind. He just collapses.
But then the truly horrible scene is their later confrontation.
Right.
The thing where it's like she has shifted in this movie from like kind of happy-go-lucky romantic lead to like a monster, like a Hollywood poison person.
Like so it
happens all off screen.
They're shooting the pilot.
Yes.
They're shooting the pilot.
She's backstage.
As they do on multi-camera sitcoms, and they're inviting the kids out to take vows, and the kid's like, my bow is great, you're gonna love my bow.
Right, he has to see her.
And we're not being sarcastic, they do actually do this, and it's really weird.
That's
especially for pilots, they make people applaud actors they haven't seen yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The idea of this scene is she's coming to Nolte with the Oliver Stone news.
Yeah.
And this
so
is
she does have good news for him, I suppose.
But this is like the, I can't miss my daughter's ballet recital moment.
I hate it. It just comes on us for no reason, out of nowhere.
She's like, Oliver Stone is making this movie, and like he wants you in it.
And he's like, fine, I don't care.
And he's like, I don't care, blah, blah, blah. And basically it's suddenly like she is a manipulative bitch that only cares about her work and can't understand where she'd been like taking care of the child, basically.
Right. Do you not realize what a big opportunity this is? And he goes, look, I promised her I wouldn't miss a moment. And she goes, my dad missed everything. And look at me, I'm fine. It's like, as of this scene, apparently you're not. Suddenly you're not.
Yep.
And then he misses the bow.
He misses the bow and he flips out. But
then he is there for the big scene.
But then Julie Kavner walks in and is like basically to
Jolie Richardson, like, you're horrible.
Yeah, you're not good enough for him. You're a bitch, basically.
Right.
Which makes
she
zero
says,
sense.
Right.
Where
Jolie Richardson's like, what's wrong? And she's like, it's fine. He's just way better than you. Like, you're not good enough for him.
Okay, so now...
it's part of her truth-telling disease.
The most insane scene in the history of film.
Her words are Brooks's words. You know what I mean? Like, anytime Julie Kavner speaks,
she's the voice of reason.
Right, exactly.
Is James L. Brooks implying that his brain is only the result of a bad prescription?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like...
The craziest scene in the history of cinema.
This is what we needed to talk about.
Plot of the sitcom
This is the end of the movie.
Yeah. And Ben, I know we need to wrap up. Don't worry. We'll only talk about the scene for 2 hours. The plot of the sitcom is mixed race foster parents. A lot of kids. Handful. Like 20 kids.
It's called like Rainbow
House.
Kids. Rainbow House, yes.
Or something.
Yes, I think you're right.
Black mother, white father.
Mm-hmm. There's that aside where the black actress is like, you want me to do a Jack A? Like, sort of like... Mm-hmm. You know, is basically making fun of them for asking her to ham it up. They're like, yeah, but no, but yeah.
Right. It's like so uncomfortable.
And they keep on, the sitcom looks so broad and so hammy. They keep on talking about this crying scene she has to do. And you're like, where would a crying scene fit into the pilot of this show? This is the thing.
The scene they shoot, I have no idea what it is in this sitcom. Like, what is it?
Especially multi-camera sitcoms try to avoid emotional scenes as much as possible. They would do one very special episode every other season, maybe.
Maybe in the pilot, though. But
yeah, it's sort of like a Facts of Life type. I don't know.
Right. So they're like grilling her on why she's been acting out so much, and she's rocking back and forth on this like.
And there's like a long pause. It's just like too much pause.
You think she's
so
forgotten
long.
the line?
It looks like to me a botch scene.
Yes.
But then she says the line.
Right, and she's saying the other kids make fun of me because I'm not black, right?
I guess so.
Well,
yeah.
No, she says a worse word than
yes,
black. Not the worst word, but
colored.
Okay, there you go.
Right. And everyone in the audience is like, but they're not shocked because of the word. They're like, oh.
Yeah, she doesn't get it.
Then,
I don't know.
And then the white guy says something like...
The white guy says, like, you don't say colored, you say black. And the black lady says, you don't say black, you say African American. And the whole audience laughs.
Gales of laughter.
And, like, we see that the audience is mostly black. And I don't know what's going on in this scene. And it's all out of nowhere.
Pause, because she's supposed to cry now.
Right.
She's supposed to cry now, and there's a long pause. And
the mom says, African American, can you use it in a sentence?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
That's the setup.
That's the setup for her great line.
The term is African American. Can you use it in a sentence? You go, what fucking sitcom is this? It holds on her for like 2 minutes of silence.
What's the sentence?
The sentence is, tears in her eyes.
Yes.
Her beloved father's gotten it out of her. She says, I love an African American.
So weird.
And
the whole audience goes like, "Aww."
And her black foster mother in return
gives her a big hug.
Well,
what does she say?
I love a redneck girl.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to run and hug the foster mother.
Yeah.
But instead she runs and hugs Nick Nolte.
Which is weird too. And then she says to him, I was thinking of you. No, I know.
I was thinking if they take you away from me.
So here's why
suddenly they like each other. She still sucks.
Yeah.
He's figured it out like a little bit, but she sucks.
Here's why this scene is insane.
And she's only going to get worse. She's
Beyond
in a sitcom.
the actual facts of it.
They could have made the scene in the sitcom literally anything. Because the whole point is for her to succeed.
She just needs to cry and hug her dad.
She has to make herself cry whether or not the thing makes her sad.
And
I think,
so it could be a fake bruised
but I
knee.
think Brooks has a bee in his bonnet about these kinds of patronizing sitcoms. Like he's trying to do satire. It's just terrible.
Right, exactly. He's trying to make a point. But it's weird. Yeah, but it's weird that like out of context.
I just saw what's in the box office. Oh my God.
Okay.
Sorry. But go on, please.
Yeah, they don't make it doesn't make the context doesn't work and it doesn't make sense. It could be something about a dad. It could be something. It's flabbergasting.
It's insane because it could have been literally anything. You even didn't need to show the preamble. You could just have Nick Nolte go, "Oh my God, this is the moment," and then the camera zooms in on her.
Yeah. And so we get this whole thing.
It's insane.
And it seems like he's trying to do satire of something, but it's not working.
I love an African American. So
that's in the movie.
Well, then they have this party afterwards, and he has the conversation with Albert Brooks where he tells him, "Look, Stone said you can have any part you want," and he goes, "I'd love one of the leads."
Right, and he's like, "No, he wants you for the crippled doctor. Best part in the movie."
Before that, he laughs more than anyone has ever laughed at any joke. He gives Nick Nolte the Irving Thalberg Award for comedy points,
right.
And then goes, "You have the crippled doctor." He goes, "Best part in the picture," and then he walks away, and that's the end of the fucking movie.
And
he'll do anything.
He's like, she shows him her bow.
Right,
finally,
right, and then at the end of the movie, over the end credits, they do a full grand orchestra version of "You Are the Best."
You are
the best.
So you know what sucks? This should have been the weird aberration misstep in his career that he then totally recovered from, which he does in the next movie, not as strongly as his first two films, but certainly in terms of court of public opinion, he gets back on track. Yeah. In terms of how it's aged since then, mezzo. And then he just goes even further afield. It's insane how much he fully lost it. The plot. The thread.
Well, I mean, and what's weird about this too is that he has an excuse for missing the plot in this movie because of the attempt to make a musical.
But then,
and then the recovery.
Why does How Do You Know also feel like a musical that had the songs cut out of it?
Sure.
They all have this
it's missing something
air to them, and they're all caught up in really unsympathetic lives.
Right.
I want to apologize because I clicked. Yes, to everyone. Because I clicked on the box office, and Box Office Mojo directed me the wrong week, and Blank Check was in the top 5, and I was really excited.
They weirdly often will link you to the second week when you click on the first week.
But this movie actually came out the week before Blank Check.
Okay,
that's all.
That would have been great.
It came out February 4th.
How would you have clued me?
I have no idea.
Okay,
I was trying to figure it out. It came out February 4th, 1994.
My mother's birthday. That's the day my mother was born. Literally. Yeah, that's my mother's birthday.
But also February 4th, come on. No hope for this movie, right? The studio is dumping.
Excuse me? Would you say that to my mother? She was top of the box office.
Number 1.
I love my
number 1 at the box office. Yeah. Is a comedy that launched a movie star. I was there opening weekend.
Is it a Carrie?
Yes.
Because this was his big year. So it's Ace Ventura?
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Yeah.
$12.1 million opening weekend. Basically makes its budget back immediately.
The craziest year any movie star has ever had.
Because The Mask and Dumb and Dumber all that year?
Right.
Weird.
And it was he got paid $250,000 for Ventura. He got paid $2 million for The Mask. And then Dumb and Dumber didn't start production until after Ventura came out, and he got paid $12 million. He became an A-list movie star over the course of a year.
Number 2 at the box office stars another comedy star. Might be their biggest movie ever.
Interesting. So this is kind of their peak?
It's their peak, right, Ben?
For sure.
Yeah. Certainly their peak is a family comedy star.
Is it?
He'd been around for a while, but this is
super quotable.
It's super quotable. For you?
Interesting.
For you.
What's a quote you like from this movie?
Yeah, give me one quote you like from this movie. Let's use that as a hint.
Oh, it'll give it away.
Yeah, but it would be funny to hear you quote the movie.
I can only think of one.
Okay, then say.
But it's totally gonna give it away.
Does it star a former SNL?
Ew! How did he not get it from that? Griffin's eyes flashed with panic.
Is it a former SNL star?
No.
Is it Mrs. Doubtfire?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello! Because you said quotable, and I was like, the only quote I can think of is hello.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
What if we'd said, quote something from the movie, and Ben had just sung, Dude Looks Like a Lady?
Like, what's another quote in that movie?
I'm Mrs. Doubtfire.
Hello.
One of the biggest movies of all time. At the time of its release, it was like number 8, period.
Huge movie.
In history. Yeah, okay.
Number 3 is a very serious Oscar drama. There's a lot of like Oscar leftovers here.
Sure.
It was an Oscar winner in an acting category in the previous year. 93. I guess it hasn't won its Oscar yet.
93. Which category did it win in?
Best Actor.
Won Best Actor.
You know Esther, who won Best Actor in 1993?
93.
No.
I'm really bad at like
remembering years.
Yeah. Did it only win Best Actor?
I believe it also won Best Song. I think I'm right about that.
But it was not a musical.
No.
Was it?
I'm correct about that.
Was it a Seussical?
No.
Was it Philadelphia?
Yes.
Oh. It did win.
Yep.
Streets of Philadelphia.
I was about to launch into Streets of Philadelphia, and I realized we don't have the time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is a comedy starring Katherine Heigl.
Not Without My Father? Or My Father the Hero?
Yeah.
There you go. I just thought that it's interesting.
Yeah, that's
that there was a 1994
creepy
comedy
fucking
starring, and Gerard Depardieu, of course.
Yeah. Heigl had a bad run in the 90s of being paired up in two-handers with mega creeps.
And then number 5 is I'll Do Anything.
Yeah, not a good opening.
And you got Schindler's List. You got Grumpy Old Men. Whew. Lemon and Mathau.
A barn burner.
And Margaret, right?
And that's one that grew, because I think that was one where it like didn't open huge and then just kept on fucking trucking.
It's doing okay. It's made 54 in 7 weeks.
Gets up to 100, I think.
No,
80?
70.
Okay, 70 pretty good.
You got Pelican Brief. You got some movies I've never heard of.
Well, I'll say this movie made me hate the industry I'm in even more.
Sure.
I felt weirdly disgusted while watching it. Especially when it gets to the child actor stuff.
Yeah, the child actor stuff is really... I mean, there are many upsetting things in this movie, but that's also a weirdly upsetting way to end it. That it's like, this kid's going to be okay because she's in a sitcom.
Right. I don't understand.
It feels like the end of Showgirls.
It's like
this is going to be bad.
It's like he got money from his kid. Like, that's
now
why he can be secure.
Now he's going to be living off his kid.
And she's already fucked up. Like, this isn't going to help
her. But
I
think never going to learn to read.
We're wrapping
she needs
up.
boundaries.
We're done. But I do think that's Brooks's thing, where he's like, it's a cynical industry, right? Like, he's trying to do like a happy, sad ending.
Cynical world of fear.
It doesn't. The cynical element of it doesn't register at all.
No, it doesn't. No. You can do anything.
Side note: I once interviewed James L. Brooks
for The Edge of 17, right?
Jim?
Yeah.
Was he nice?
He was really nice.
He seems like such a nice guy.
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
Was he still like with it?
Yeah, he was still
pretty
with
old.
it. Yeah, he's pretty old, but he was still with it. It was like, it was at Toronto last year for Edge of 17.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, I didn't like. He didn't say anything that was like relevant to this podcast, so I didn't know how to sneak it in. But yeah, he was very nice. I sort of fucked it up because he gave me like something that like they were doing this VR thing with The Simpsons that like hadn't been announced yet, and I was like, oh, cool, can I break that? And I don't know if I should say this on the air.
Say it. We can cut out later.
No, I can't. Like, I don't think I can, but I'll tell you it off air. Okay. It's really funny, though.
Great. So have fun, listeners, not ever hearing that story. David and I are going to brag on Twitter.
It goes on the pile with the Brendan Fraser story.
Yep. Well, I'll never tell it on mine.
Yep.
The shorts version of it was like he was going to call me to ask me questions about something.
Okay.
But he never did.
Sure.
I'm going to say something crazy right now. I know something so fucking juicy that is so relevant to this podcast that I've not even told anyone that I know. And several months from now, you're going to lose your mind that I was sitting on this.
Tell me now.
I cannot tell you.
You can't tell me off
mic? Is it horrifying or like...
It's good.
Okay, it's good.
Oh, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. I cannot
Why can't you tell me?
100% sworn to secrecy. I was told by someone who was like, I have told 2 people in the world.
All right, fine,
But
whatever.
you're going to lose your mind when you know that I knew this.
All right. That's definitely it. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe.
I'll probably be able to reveal it a couple weeks
Thank you,
after this
guys.
episode comes out.
Okay, fine.
Rate, review, subscribe. Esther, thank you so much for being on the
Thank you
show.
for having me.
Easy Writes on Twitter. You're the best, Esther. Thank you so
You
much
are.
Thank
for
you.
being on the show.
Thanks for
Can
putting
I
up
do
with me when
anything?
You can do anything.
Thanks for putting up with me.
And we make a really good joke about you 2 episodes from now, so tune in for that.
Oh my God.
Do we?
Yeah, we still. I'll remind you what it is off
Okay,
mic.
all right.
I just don't want to sell out
that's
the joke
fine. That's
before it
fine.
happens.
That's fine.
Blankies.reddit.com. Thanks to Anne Friguda for our social media, Joe Bowen and Pat Reynolds for artwork, Lane Montgomery for our theme song. And as always, folks, this is Griffin from the future.
Oh my God.
I'm interrupting the episode with a breaking announcement. At the time we recorded this episode, we thought the musical version of I'll Do Anything was unwatchable.
And we found out it was.
But we know it now from experience because, folks, thanks to Blanky Jake McKay, we have gotten our hands on a copy of it. So coming this Thursday,
That's right.
a bonus episode,
We
we're
love
bringing
'em.
back Esther Zuckerman,
Yep.
and we're discussing the musical version of I'll Do Anything. The first movie since The Force Awakens to get 2 episodes.
That is sadly true.
I have a question, future Griffin.
Yeah.
How does the episode go for me? I don't like nothing weird comes up. I don't like kill myself or anything.
No,
right?
you do.
You're very
you are
upset.
miserable.
Yeah, I don't. There's a lot going on in that ep.
Yeah.
We were, put it this way, we were going to record for 10 minutes, and I think we went for an hour.
Yeah, you're not happy.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it sounds really plausible, right?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I'm like pretty much up to like my wit's end.
Yeah, you've had it up to here.
Imagine
with us.
how you feel 4 months later where I'm coming from.
Oh, yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah.
Sure.
So folks, stay tuned. Check that feed. I'll Do Anything, the musical edition, a bonus episode.